You gonna go there?
Looking for something new in sci-fi or fantasy? Check out what Brandon Sanderson, Orson Scott Card, Nnedi Okorafor, and others chose as the best news stories of the year in the L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future anthology from 24 award-winning authors and illustrators, plus art and writing tips and bonus stories. L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future. Buy your copy at galaxypress.com, Amazon, or wherever books are sold.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh, wherever books are sold. That's pretty much everywhere these days.
Yep.
Well, you know what? The internet, people, everything's sold everywhere now. We're going to be talking about the news. We got Martin Shoemaker. He's going to be joining us later in the second hour, probably about 10 or 15 minutes into the second hour. We'll talk about it when he gets on. He's a sci-fi writer. Yeah, you know. Jay likes when I bring geeky sci-fi writers on, so it's Jeffrey would too, but Jeffrey's been doing some weird stuff lately, like I am from the past, and you are from the future, and she is from the middle. You know, whatever the hell. I'm not sure, but you know, no, whatever. He can do whatever he wants, people. I was just teasing for everybody starts writing to us. Did y'all know we have Jumpin' Jack Sean Kelly with us tonight? See, that's his new name, Jack Kelly.
Jack Kelly's my new name.
Jack
only
Kelly.
on this show.
Only on this show, you know. You can't be calling him Jack Kelly. Bouncing Jack Kelly. I don't know. That doesn't sound right to me. Yeah. But y'all can keep playing around with it. We have Jay McNichols from the infamous Church of Mavis. And I say that lovingly. The infamous Church of Mavis.
Oh, you didn't mention my show, damn
Just hold on, man. We're getting to you. Dude, these egos, man. I'm telling you. You see, I had a good thing I was going to roll into after the infamous thing. Now I can't now. So y'all be sure to come check out Sean on Into the Night on Tuesday night. He's holding Tuesday by himself. He is the man. He is the only host in this entire effing network that has a whole day to himself. Yes, that shows you how much we love him right there.
I know.
You know, you just don't put anybody where they can hold it.
I do hold it pretty good. I do believe.
Kelly, we mean? Oh no, we haven't fired Trish. Trish is on break. She got a lot going on in her life right now, so she's on break. Yeah, well, I mean, you can write to her, you know, wish her the best. I'd send her money, man, and that's what I'd do. Y'all can send me money. Oh yeah, there's a donation page right there on the damn network page. Just click. UPR on radio, UPRandtalkradio.com. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Hit the donation button and say you love JoJo Mod. You love the JoJo Mod. JoJo Mod needs all kind of new stuff. I got to pay off these high-dollar computers sitting on my floor in here. Yes, without them, there is no United Public Radio. Or there actually is no Roku is what it is. A Roku? No, don't start on me about that shit. Tonight we're just... So, first off, Biden goes and picks a fight with the Ukrainian leader.
Really?
Yes. So
with Zelensky, yeah.
Yeah, he kind of did this to Zelensky today or yesterday, whatever the hell it was.
Oh.
And because Putin and him have decided that the war needs to end. So then I hear today that Zelensky went to Sudan and blew up some of Putin's people.
Ooh.
So, you know.
In the country of Sudan.
In the country of Sudan. Because the drones can only be operated from 9 miles away.
Wow.
So I'm thinking, you know, don't be stupid. Let's oh, nah, his name's going to go be all fucked up. Beep, 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 beep. Liskinsky. There we go.
It's Zelensky.
He's ass Liskinsky, but anyway, we're not going to go there. You know, guys, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Hitler. But anyway, y'all keep getting me sidetracked here. And, you know, remember, this is why Putin went to war with him in the first place, was because he thought they were doing, you know, Nazi sympathizers. But anyway, he's over there blowing up, what's that guy's name? The one that just got killed recently on the airplane that mysteriously fell out the sky and killed its leader.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about. He was in charge of the Wagner group.
Yeah, that's so anyway, so they're over there blowing up Wagner people. That's who they're blowing up. And so now, the Sudan army says they don't believe that, but Zelensky's people says it's true. The problem with this is, don't give Putin an excuse to go blow up Poland. All right. So don't go outside of your borders and start taking away people that are helping him in the war. Because if you do, then, in his wacko nutso way of thinking, he can think, well, you know what? They're blowing up our support. Why can't we blow up their support? And their support is much more sophisticated. Poland, England, the United States, Germany. You blow up countries like that, there's going to be just a little bit of an incident. I'm just saying, there's going to be some problems. Yes, it's going to be the big W3. So
Wow.
I'm just not.
So
He's
so
thinking before he does something. And I think he likes this war because, really and truly, the United States is going to force Russia into concessions if Russia decides. And it sounds like Putin wants to end this, because it sounds like Putin wants to get into stuff in Africa. So he'll give back at least some of the territory. But that ain't Lazinski. Lazinski likes this war. He gets to do whatever he wants. He gets to run around, hoe around, travel around the world, go blow shit up. I mean, what guy wouldn't like that?
There might even be a clause in their constitution that allows him to stay in office while the war is still going.
Might be.
Kind of like our president would stay in office until the war is ended. So,
oh my God, don't say that.
Huh. Well, I don't know. I mean, we can find out. But
in our case, they're going to get rid of Biden no matter what. So, I mean, come on. Biden, I'm doing good. Bam! Right into the pole. And then walks off without the Brazilian president.
Yeah, did you see the dude on the Brazilian's face? That guy, man, he was pissed.
Because he just, that's what he did. Well, wait, he did it to the Vietnam guy. So he's in Vietnam, goes, talks to the president. They come out and ask him, oh, yeah, you've been retired president, great things. Well, I don't know. I'm just going to go take a nap. I mean, he just pissed on. The guy needs to go. Okay, he just needs to go. Him and his whole bunch of cronies, it's time. They need to go. I don't know where they need to go, but they need to go away from running our country. Even my Democrat friends are kind of like, oh my God. One of them the other day was being a smart ass about Trump. And I said, really? I didn't see Trump walk into the poll and leave the president sitting there. He was like, he just looks down. I'm like, dude, there's nothing you can say about Trump that Biden has already not made everybody look worse. I said, our country looks like a joke.
Yeah.
And I said, you're a Democrat and you hate Trump and you think Trump made us look like a joke. And now here's Biden. Again, that's two presidents, 8 years of, we're the joke, man. Yeah, look at America. I mean, come on, we can't be this. It's not who we are.
And think of this irony. If we go back 30 years, we would still be the laughingstock of all other countries, but it wouldn't be because of presidents. It would be because of things like Jerry Springer and those Geraldo Rivera shows where they, you are the father. Even Maury Povich got into that whole thing.
Yes.
So,
Biden,
now it's gone from the shock TV interviewers, Maury Povich, Geraldo Rivera, and Jerry Springer, and it's now come on to the last three presidents who have been laughing stocks of, well, maybe not Trump as much, but people did make fun of him. They're the ones that are making us look like buffoons.
Is there a ghost there, buddy? You have a ghost there?
This is my girlfriend dropping something off.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering. Well, how about when Trump destroyed that one, was the one female interviewer, and that other chick who was Trump's staff went in front of Congress, and she's claiming that Giuliani was groping her. Come on. And she wrote a book
I watched.
about it.
Yeah, I actually seen that this afternoon. Or CNN was talking about it, and Giuliani, I gotta say, I don't trust Giuliani. He may have got him a quick fee. I'm not going to rule it out. My problem is like the judge asked her, why'd you take so long to come public? If this was true. And then she said about Eastman, watched it and seen it. And he was like, who? He didn't even know who this chick was. He was like, wait, what? No. And now he's thinking about suing her for bringing his name into it because he didn't know who this chick was. He said, I didn't see anything. I don't even know who this chick is. I mean, so that's a complete embarrassment on her point. It just makes her look like she took an opportunity because of the limelight with Trump and Giuliani to make some money. And that's what it looks like. But you never can rule out that Giuliani's a little pervert and got him a quick fee. I'm not beyond thinking he would do something like that. He just got that cheesy look sometimes. Not always. I mean, sometimes he looks like he's hardcore and straight laced. He is an attorney. But then you know what, dude? I have never met an attorney, not one, that wasn't up in some kind of way. I mean, I just haven't met any. I mean, all of them, whether it's gay, straight, or in between, thinks they're the sexual envy of the world. It's something. I think it's something that goes with the ego of trying to be a good attorney. But I don't know. I wouldn't rule it away out. All I would do is ask her to take a polygraph. People always say, "Well, why don't he have to?" Well, because he's not making the Damn, I can't talk tonight. What the is going on? I know. I feel like Biden. Oh shit! I should have never said that. Oh shit! I should have never said that. Oh, anyway.
You know, it is Joe Biden Montana. Isn't that your middle name now?
Hey! I know where you live. I will send a drone to your damn house, buddy.
Send it.
Drop a cat on your head. Oh God, yeah.
Send it up here with some jambalaya, man. I haven't had it in a long time.
It's no, I mean I can't help it, people. I mean, y'all wanted to make fun of Trump. Okay, before anybody starts, I didn't vote for Trump either time. I didn't vote for Hillary. No. And I didn't vote for you know who. No. So my problem is last president I voted for, I don't want to say this out loud, was Obama. His first term, not his second, but I did vote for his first term. I voted for Reagan and Clinton both terms. I like both of them. I voted for Nixon both terms, even though he was, he got in trouble.
And if I can remind you, Joe, it wasn't very long after Obama's first term, months in, where you said, I may have regretted my vote.
Yes.
You actually said that.
No, it's true. I was like, uh-oh. And, I wanted to give the guy the chance, come on, he's young guy, young black guy. He's got a lot going on. He really wants to try to change things. Yeah. You got in there and you're like, and then actually after he made like these 5 speeches, I'm like, oh, Jesus, he's just repeating the Senate now. So I'm thinking, oh, he's push button. And this ain't going to be good. But now I read an article just today that not Rand Paul, Ted Cruz says that that's who's running the country right now. He said, if you don't believe me, go look at his economics from then and now and the numbers from then and now. You'll see they almost match identically. He said that's who's running the freaking country. And I'm thinking, I hope not, because he did suck as a president. Obama, you're a nice guy, maybe a little pervy.
He's still getting paid that $250,000 a year or whatever it is, or $450,000 a year.
Yeah, $450, I think it is.
So, I mean, his finances are going to continue to go up that amount every year.
He's in a boatload of crap right now. I mean, you don't hear nothing.
Because he gets in trouble.
You don't hear nothing about Michael. You don't hear about him. Yeah. You don't.
Well, Michael got a new boyfriend, and they're having their gay love affair.
I think Michael and the other dude that they killed over there where they live are having something going on. I believe that, man. I believe that.
I wouldn't know what's going on.
That's my theory on that. Someone who hit the dinger.
Not just saying that's first conspiracy theory for the night. Bing.
Okay.
No, I mean, the whole family is weird. You never hear nothing about the kids, which is good. You never hear nothing about George Bush's kids either anymore, which is good. And by the way, whoever said that sent me that text. I only voted for baby Bush one time. And the second time around, I felt like we were like, and I did not vote for Daddy Bush. I did not. There was something about Daddy Bush that gave me the EBGBs, man. He reminded me of Darth Cheney. Or I should say Darth Cheney reminded me of him.
Cheney ran the freaking presidency.
Yeah, and that's why, come on, we called him Darth Cheney for a couple of reasons, but mainly because he's basically running the country. He has a heart attack. They rip out his heart to give him a new one, and I'm back.
He was mean.
Yeah, and look at his daughter. She's crazy. So,
yeah.
And, she always says, oh, my daddy always says he backs everything I say, and I'm thinking, Darth Cheney was more like Trump than he was like any of the rest of these clowns. So I can't see why he'd hate Trump other than Trump, picks on his daughter all the time, but she deserves it. She lost her seat over it. Actually,
a lot more vocal. He wasn't quite as prolific as Trump, because Trump had, with social media, but he pissed off a lot of people too, just by things he
He
said.
did, because he was an
not a
evil
very well liked
bastard.
man. Yeah.
No, because he was an evil bastard. And that's another reason we called him Darth Cheney. I mean, everybody was scared of him. And everybody didn't matter what country you lived in. You did not want to. Oh, hi, Mr. Bush. How are you doing? Is Cheney with you? Oh no. Oh, good. We can go out and have dinner. Let's go have some fun. Cheney's with you. Oh yes, sir. What is it you're here for, sir? Oh yes, sir. No problem. Oh yeah, the limousine's waiting. Oh no, papers here already signed. You don't even have to worry about it. We got you straightened out, Mr. President. Power to you, because they knew Cheney would do something nasty to him. Even Iran was scared of Cheney. The only person I've seen any presidents, everybody for some reason either respected Reagan or was scared of Reagan.
Yeah.
Even though he was crazy.
Hey, you know what, Joe? When we were in the service, Reagan gave us 2 pay raises.
Yes, well, Reagan was a cool president in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
He did things that normal presidents didn't do, and he had fun, and he did good for the world. He could have done a little better for the economy, but still, he did all right. And he let dickhead take over and screw it up even more than Clinton. But when Clinton came in, Clinton had a lot to cut because Reagan had spent a lot of money, especially on the military. He had spent a lot of money. And some of it was wasted, $15,000 toilet seats and $5,000 hammers and things like that. That also happened under Clinton's reign too. It's how like the Millab people pay for their stuff. And before anybody writes to me what a Millab is, look it up. Yes, it's how they pay for that kind of stuff. Yeah, somebody's going to pay for them black ops.
You can't put a line in that says, a year's worth of food for alien specimen G. It's got to say, specialized hammer for fuselage fixing. Bam, $350 a pop. That's how you do it.
What do you mean, Carolyn? Who am I going to vote for? Well, I don't vote by party. Okay, I don't really give a shit if you're independent, if you're a Democrat or a Republican. I vote for who I think is going to do the best for me. Oh no, I like Trump in a lot of ways. I thought he did a lot of good stuff, but I didn't vote for him, and I wouldn't vote for him now.
So you independent, Joe?
I'm a centralist would be a better way to say it. Yeah. I believe more like the majority of the country does. We're all kind of grouped up in the middle now going, what are you morons doing on the left and right? Get in. What is wrong with you people? I was listening to a Democrat friend of mine the other day going on and on about, he said, liberals are fine. He said, didn't you get the progressives? He said, the progressives are fucking crazy. And they make the whole party look crazy, which is true. But you know what? Republicans got that same problem too. So I kind of sit in the middle because somebody asked me the other day about abortion. They go, well, what are you on abortion? I said, well, I'm not anti-abortion. I said, but I don't think it should be used as birth control either. So I am in the middle on this. I don't, you shouldn't get 5 and 10 births. No, that's murder. I mean, that's ridiculous. After the first or second time, I think if you haven't learned your lesson, then you should just raise the kid and find out what it is to have a child. And I know sometimes that's putting it on the kid, but still, man, because some of these people, and I hate to say this aloud, but some of these people that have abortions, really, the kid's probably better off. It's either going to be raised by a complete crackhead, dopehead, fiendhead, or in some orphanage where God knows what's going to happen. No, not all orphanages are bad. Before anybody writes to me, but
they're going to write to you, Joe, right?
But even if it's not the orphanage,
write to Jack Kelly.
Foster care can be very trying for a child. So I mean, it's not just the whole system is not child friendly. It really isn't.
Oh no! I feel no. We gotta save the children, guys. We gotta save them children.
What children? Them Z-Jenners? Shit, just nuke them. Oh my God, that's a wasted generation. They are just in the head, man.
Every generation has its war, and every war needs
them outside. They wouldn't know what to do with themselves.
But Joe, every generation has its wars, and every war needs cannon fodder. So there you go.
Yeah, we got a lot there. I mean, look,
put them on the front lines and say go.
They'd be out there
with that way.
They'd be bombing them. They'd be out there with their cell phone. Wait.
How do you evade a bomb coming down? Oh, boom! It's too late.
Why do I hate the Z-Jenners? I don't hate the Z-Jenners. I remember hearing my grandparents and all bitch about other generations, not mine, because my generation's cool, but it's still, it's other generations, it's just, Well, it's like the X Geners. They call themselves the last feral generation, meaning that they had to go outside. They, my mom would say shit like, "Oh, it's morning. Did you watch a cartoon? Yeah, get out. Not where you going, son. Not what you're doing. Get out. No, I'm shit. No shit. That was out." And then if I got
They
hungry,
didn't
come
care where. They
sneak
just
in.
said outside. Just go
Yeah, and
outside. I
then
don't care
I'd
what you do.
sneak back in around lunch and steal something to eat, and then poof, I was gone. And then and I was gone until dark. And as I got older, I was gone, later. But no, I mean we rode bikes everywhere we went. I did get a car. I got my first car at 15, but it was different back then. You could get cars at 15. Today,
Yeah.
not so much. In most places, you can't even get a learner's permit until you're 16 or 17. So,
Yeah.
and then you got to wait another year before you get your driver's license. That's a little different, but also, and I hate to say this, gas was only like 29 cents a gallon when I started.
Yes. Yes.
I was like,
yes.
I had this big V8 hog. Whoa, this thing, I'm not kidding. You could actually watch the needle go.
Yeah, I've seen cars like that.
It was a polluting hog of a shit machine. I'm with y'all on that. Look, on ZJs, I'm with y'all on that. That thing should have been put down to death early on. It was horrible with gas, I think. It got 6 miles to the gallon on a good day. 4 miles when I was like, whoop, whoop. Yeah, it had a 44-gallon tank on. It was insane. Oh, yes. But they had some that were better, fuel efficient, and ran better. We didn't have we had carburetors back then. Yeah. I don't know what a carburetor is.
I had my car had 2 carburetors on it.
Yeah, but for a lot of you X-Geners, for a lot of you millennials, y'all don't know what a carburetor is.
Half of them don't even know how to change a tire. I was lucky. I had a pretty fuel efficient car back then. I had a Morris Garage Motor Cars Model B, and I probably got somewhere between in the city to 24 to 27 miles a gallon. Back in the 80s, that's a lot of gas mileage.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was only 8 cents a gallon back then.
The best car I ever had was a 73 Chevy Impala.
Oh, Impala's nice. I have one.
Nice.
That was a nice tank, man. That was a
I found my father's Impala.
Oh, wow.
His was white. His was white. It had a white.
Mine was white too.
67. He had a 67, and I remember being able to stand up. I was 6 years old. I could stand up on the front seat and not touch the headliner. And it was one of those first years when they had over-the-shoulder harnesses attached to the headliner.
No, we never.
You had to manually put the shoulder belt on those models.
Dude, never. There was no seatbelts in the cars at all. There wasn't. Just some little straps that went around your waist. And then you throw all your kids in the back of the pickup, not knowing if they're going to be like falling out and shit. Like, that was the days, man. That was great.
So I remember piling in a pickup truck in wintertime. We were going to Fuddruckers to get hamburgers. Everybody back there freezing their ass off doing 90 on interstate. Yes, people, I'm telling you, that's why they say last feral generation. Y'all don't understand. See, you millennials and you Z-Gens got easy, man. There was no, I can't go outside. I'll get sunburned. Oh, I got to have my cell phone. No, there was none of that cell phone.
I have a sun allergy.
We didn't have a cell phone. We didn't know what the hell a cell phone was. We didn't even know what a pager was.
Millennials, they're the ones that don't know how to use rotary phones, right?
Yeah, they don't either.
Yeah, they'd be confused how to use them. They have to look it up on
They're
the
like,
YouTube.
what is this?
Yeah.
I mean, really and truly, the X-Geners are the last generation to experience that kind of life. The millennials started getting a different kind of life. They were really the computer generation. They're the ones that grew up on the internet, grew up in a lot of stuff. The Z-Geners are just a product of the freaking millennials. So what do you expect? And no, look, Z-Geners, I got faith in 40 years from now, y'all turn into something good. And you get to do that. My parents had to grow up earlier because of the type of life they lived. My dad was born in 1911, so he had to grow up earlier. And each progressive generation, I didn't have to grow up as fast, but then my dad died at 16, so I didn't have a choice. I had to grow up fast. But, but the other generations, the millennials and the Zs can take it easy. I mean, most millennials didn't leave home till 35. Figure that one out. And for a long time, the millennials were living at home. More than 60% of them were.
Well, and that's also kind of the European model. If you look at European families, their children stay in the house 32, 35, 40 years old. Sometimes, even if they're not married, they might go out on their own. But for the most part, until they're married, they stay with their parents, unless they move to another city for a job that's pays more. They stay with their family for 35, 40 years.
Jacqueline, my son stayed at home till he was 26. Then he moved out for a while. I think he moved out till he was like 30, and then he moved home for 2 years. And when he met his girlfriend, he moved out. And now he's married and living in New Orleans. No, I live on the Gulf Coast. Technically, I live in Mississippi. I'm 20 minutes inside of Mississippi. Yeah, I live on the Gulf of Mexico. That's where I live. Mahali Bayou, and then the Gulf of Mexico. That's my backyard. But he lives in shithole city apartment complex heaven, Metairie, Louisiana, which is just homes and apartments, home and some convenience stores, little strip malls and stuff like that. It's just it's a suburb of New Orleans. See, the problem with living in the city is first off, every home in New Orleans, unless you're really rich, is so old that, they have no insulation in the floors, the walls. Hell, a lot of times there'll be gaps in the windows and stuff because they have sash windows. You can put your fingers down and with air just flowing in and out. It's just know you're going to have a high electric bill. Plus, sometimes people shoot at you out down there. They're like, where you from? You here from New Orleans? No, I ain't from you from New Orleans, right? Yeah. No, I don't think you from New Orleans. Next thing you know, bam, 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 bam. What the hell's going on? I do carry a gun if I ever put that question up there. I know. My son does too. Well, he don't have to in the daytime because we're in my car, so there's 2 guns in my car. Yeah, no, there's 2 in my car. Oh, yeah. There's a 380 and a 9mm. And a 9mm with a 31 round clip in it, so you better run fast. 3 different types of loads. You better run really fast. Well, if the target bullet hits you, it's just copper. It'll probably just knock you on your ass. But if one of the triggered hollow points or one of the capped hollow points hits you, you're dead. And if you're not dead, you're going to be bleeding out, and then you're going to be dead. I'm just telling you.
You'll need immediate medical.
You do not want to get hit by one of them bullets. No, that's what they're for.
They're designed to destroy organs on their way through to make you not get back up.
In close combat. And when I shoot you, I'm probably only going to be standing 5 or 6 feet from you, so it's going to F you up. It's going to go in like this and come out like this. And God knows what it's going to be carrying with it when it comes out.
Yeah. Your liver, your spleen, your heart.
And the triggered one splits in half. Well, actually splits into about 18 pieces. We used to have ones that were mercury filled, but they outlawed them. Yeah, you could get a hollow point and fill it with mercury and cap it with wax and or plastic, whichever way you wanted to. And that way, if they were hollow points, you'd shoot somebody, bam, and they were dead.
If you remember the movie Jaws, Roy Scheider does that. He puts cyanide in the hollow point of his bullets and then covers it with wax, a high heat resistant wax, so that when it penetrates the shark's skin, it'll poison it. So there's all kinds of tricks you can do with that. But I have the
That's
black
illegal,
Talon.
people.
You remember the black
Black
Talons?
Talons are badass. Yeah,
I've got those in my gun, in my 9mm, and those, if I'm not mistaken, when they did the ballistics test on those, they created like a 16 or 17-inch wound cavity. My arm is 14 inches from here to here, 14 inches. And that makes a bigger hole than that going through you. So that disrupts every organ in your body. So if you get hit once, you're not getting back up.
Well, people, the talons split open, but they're also they're razor sharp.
Razor sharp. They will go through non-plated Kevlar. So if you don't have any trauma plates, you just have the Kevlar jacket, it will penetrate it. That's why they call them cop killers.
Jack. Was that Sean?
Damn, I said damn.
Well, when we were kids, you could still get armor piercing bullets. I don't think you can anymore.
You can't, not without a police license or a special military certificate.
Now we used to get tracers and go out and we go get a 5-gallon bucket of gasoline because most people think you shoot gas it's going to explode. It's not. People, you can go out there, you can shoot bullets through gasoline all day long. It's not. But if you put a tracer around it and shoot that,
it will catch on fire.
It'll ignite then. Well, you know what? I've seen people drop matches into gas before.
Yeah. So gasoline.
You be the dumbass and do that.
Here's the problem. If you know the properties of gasoline, you can be safe around it. So the liquid gasoline requires a spark.
Yeah.
To catch on fire, spark, not an open flame. The gas from gasoline, like the vapors from it, requires an open flame. Which This is why they don't like you to smoke near gasoline pump stations, because you're basically holding a burning ember, and that's enough to cause those fumes to explode. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, we had to learn it because we used to fill jets with JP4, JP5, JP.
That stunk. That was nasty smell.
Who was it? Shh. Well,
It was.
one of those were for prop planes, and one of those was high performance jets. And then we had a specialty fuel. They had it labeled something else, I don't remember, but it was a specialty fuel for like the F-18s and stuff like that. But it was, what's weird about it though? It just didn't explode. You could probably light a flame around it and probably still wouldn't go off. But once it got in that jet turbine, it got to going, it got to a certain heat, which I think was over 500. I think it was 500 Fahrenheit. Then it ignited, and then the shit burned super hot.
Which is what kind of amazed me about that particular type of fuel. 911 happened, and everyone thought, "Oh, there's no way that fire can get hot enough to melt those girders."
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't just that fire. It was that those planes' wings had just been filled. They just took off. They had full gasoline tanks on board, and the gasoline tanks on airplanes are the wings.
Oh yeah.
Think about those jumbo jet airplanes full of JP 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. They crash into those buildings and immediately ignite. That's enough heat to cause.
I think the JP5 burns at 800 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, people, well, that wasn't enough to melt the metal. That's true. It's not. But
there's no material in there.
Burning as it's stocked into the elevator shafts and stuff like that, continuously burning then it is. So yeah, for 5 or 10 minutes, 800 degrees is not. But as it's sitting there and other things are heating up, the metal's starting to give off heat. Other things that are on fire giving off heat.
You got all those other things in there. Drywall is on fire.
So
the rugs are on fire. The rugs
know,
are synthetic materials.
Yeah. So next thing you know, you're at 1,500 degrees and it's getting to the point, boom. And then it's just one of those things. Well, guys, I've melted metal. Okay. Just to prove a point to you. So one day I'm riding my motorcycle, right? And I broke the little piece in the back that controls the brake system on, and it was leaving me stuck where I was. So I went and I had a blowtorch, and I found the old one off of a smaller motorcycle. So I needed to make the hole in it bigger. So I had this torch and I had this thing, and I was and then I'd stick a little piece in there and try to widen it, and then the torch ran out on me. I was like, son of a bitch. So I got me some coals, and I got made a little funnel for the coals so that I could blow the heat. And I did it that way. I had that thing glowing white in no time. Took the little piece, put it in there, made it to the size I wanted, put it in the water, cooled it off, put it on the motorcycle. It worked perfectly. And all I used was embers, some coals, just regular old coals, and a blow box to make them super hot and keep the heat going. And it was plenty hot enough to melt that steel. And that's strength in steel because it's on a bike. It has to be because, it's on the brake system. I'm just saying, people. And, think about it. It takes, I think it's 2,000 degrees to disintegrate human bones. So, we've been burning people. I'm not talking about when they put you in the infernos. I'm talking about when they put you out like the Vikings and still no bone left. So they managed to get out of wood 2,000 degree fires. You figure it out. So there's no doubt that the fire inside those buildings were plenty enough to melt them girders. People call me all the time and argue with me or write to me and argue with me about all seven buildings. I was like, well,
7, it was 11.
I said, the problem for all this was, I said, I would have had a problem with all of this if there wouldn't have been the part underneath that was connected to all the buildings. Then I would have had more of a problem. But after they walked through the underground network and I realized all that heat was being pushed down, they had all those girders across all those buildings were being superheated. And it's worse than that because it was at the bottom. So the full weight of the building was pushing down on the heated girders. It was just a matter of time they were going to give. Because concrete, people, believe it or not, concrete when it gets hot enough, it breaks. And then the rebar inside melts. And then the building collapses. It's not what y'all think it is. People tell me all the time, well, concrete is fireproof. I'm like, man, who told you that bullshit?
Not even close.
I said, there's a butcher.
Roman concrete might have been, but
maybe
our
Roman.
Roman.
But ours not. And if you don't trust me, believe me, people, you can look it up for yourselves. But you see all the time rigs in the highway get knocked over, oil rig or diesel rig or gas rig, and it'll blow up, and they have to come out and remove the concrete and put new concrete in. Yes. Well, when it gets so hot that the actual rebarb inside of it melts, and then the concrete cracks, and it's
create a giant pothole at some point.
It's just not useful anymore.
Also, all that gasoline that doesn't burn off is soaked into that section of concrete. And what happens when the next time it rains? All those oils come to the surface. You have skids, you have accidents in that exact area because of all the gas and oil that's inside the pavement.
Yeah, this old guy, about 10 years ago, he was arguing with me about driving it in the rain. I said, "Look, dude," I said, "it's always most dangerous when it first rains." He said, "Oh no," and he's going on telling me why. He said, "Well, why do you think that?" I said, "I don't think that's fact." I said, "When it first starts to rain, all the oil in the highway loosens up and it makes it slick. After it's rained for a while, it pushes the oils off the road so that the roads are not slick anymore. It's just a common thing. It doesn't matter where you drive, what state, what country. It's just how it works. And places like here, where we have asphalt highways that get super hot in the summertime, they will actually sweat sometimes and create oil on top of the highway. And it's already dangerous enough. And if it starts to rain mixed with that oil, well, Jesus Christ, people. It's like driving in snow for us poor Southerners.
It's like
on ice,
clown
actually.
cars on the highway. You ever seen those clown cars? They do all kinds of 360s. That's what happens on the highway. Clown cars.
It is. It's like driving for ice for Southerners because we don't get to experience ice much. So we have every now and then. So my first year owning this house, we got snowed in. Yeah, I'm thinking, what? I've been living in New Orleans for God can't even say how many thousands of years. In 50 years, it only rained 4 times. I mean, it only snowed 4 times. That's it. And and for y'all people, it's not even snow. It's just little, maybe that much.
What we call it. That's not even snow.
That's what I'm saying. For anybody who lives. Anybody who lives at the Mason-Dixon line or up, this is not even a real snow for y'all. Y'all are like, that's not snow. It's like when we laugh at y'all when you get a Category 1 hurricane. We're like, that's not a hurricane. But it's the same kind of thing. But, we're not used to ice. So we're used to ice in the winter, like bridges icing up. But they're not real big and they're not real long. And the really big bridges, if they ice, they close them. So all of a sudden, I'm listening to the radio. The guy said, there's 2 bridges right here by my house. They closed both of them. And it was so funny for 9 days, we watched the cops try to go up the bridge and just slide back down. They woo, 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 just punching it. They get up a little ways and come twisting back down.
It's because y'all don't have this super new technology that we have up here in the north. They're called snow tires.
Yes.
Yeah, no, but see, even here, so it's well, no, you can't be using. Well, I guess on the ice you can.
You can use chains, Joe.
We ain't put no change in my car. You beat my car with no damn chains. So it didn't matter anyway because the way they had it set up is so where we live, you had to go out the back way to get on the beach and cruise that way. Now going east, I could go almost as far as I wanted, but going back to New Orleans, you couldn't. There was no way to get back to New Orleans without crossing a bridge for almost 100 miles in each direction. So you were stuck. You weren't going anywhere. Interstate bridges were closed. All the bridges above interstate were closed. Then all those rivers and stuff that you have to cross to get into New Orleans, they were closed. So it was just, well, what can you do? We're stuck. And then I got pictures there on my Facebook page. I had icicles hanging off my house. Like, you can't even get them in the screen.
I've seen those pictures.
Yeah, they were anywhere from 18 inches to 24 inches long. I'm like, this is the South, people. What the hell is this?
Armageddon is upon you.
It just got cold. We were in the teens, 14, 16, 18, 12.
Oh, my God.
That's
heat for us, Jay.
That's what I'm saying. So
that's heat.
And so for us.
Last year, Joe, we had here in Waynesboro, it's probably worse for Sean you're in Pittsburgh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably worse for you. But last year it was like, had a week, maybe 10 days where it was negative 10 degrees here. It was probably negative 15 or negative 20 up in Pittsburgh.
And we're just stupid because, like I said, it's 12 degrees outside. I got my doors open and the heat on.
Yeah. 12 degrees outside with no wind is tolerable, but you put in an ice cold wind and wet snowy rain and it's miserable.
You see that's our problem. So it'll get if it's 12, as long as we ain't getting that breeze off the Gulf, it's fine. If that you start getting that 80% humidity coming off the golf with that, you're like, oh shit, I'm moving. Because it just pierces through your clothes. It doesn't matter what
Yeah.
you're wearing. It just goes through them. But no, we get ready to bring on our guest in a few minutes, Marcus, whoever you are, being nosy. No, that's Jack Kelly. You know, like the movie star Jack Kelly. Yes. Uh-huh. He's got 11 wives. Shh, don't tell anybody. 11. Look, 11. How the hell he does this beyond me. Jay and I were like, what the hell, 11, man?
If you hide them in 11 states, no one is the
So
wiser.
if you got 11, have you been like surgically altered to have, more, well, I can't say on the air, but you know what I mean. Like 3 or 4 of them, maybe 5 of them. So, who wrote that? So, all right, we're going to leave that topic alone completely. Oh, no, I started seeing something in my messenger box come up. I was like, no, we're leaving this alone.
Somebody's been out in the sun too long.
Yes,
Real quick, check this out, right? My son just texted me. He's
how's
coming
he
home
doing
from
over
China.
there?
Yeah, he's in
doing
China,
okay.
yeah.
He's coming home. Yeah. And he has a 30-hour, he left about 3 hours ago. So in 9 hours, he's going to catch his first flight. He's going to be 30 hours up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wow.
Back into Indianapolis. Oh yeah, he's all screwed up. But from what I understand, whatever he said, what he told us was that he did have a good time. He learned a lot. We're going to learn more probably on Monday or Tuesday when he calls. But he's coming home safe so far. So
That's good.
Well,
yeah.
as long as he ain't flying over to Ukraine, we're okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm just glad that at least he got to experience that.
Well, China's. I mean, I know a lot of people go to China and they enjoy it. It's a shame that the U.S. and China can't really come to, because it's a shame because we can't work out our relations together because the people don't seem to have a problem with each other.
Right.
I know because the station's well carried over there. We get a lot of responses. It doesn't seem to be that the people really have a problem. It's the governments, and of course we're competition for each other. So. And everybody was, I remember when everybody was all over China, telling me how China was going to rule the world. And I was like, don't forget India's out there, people, and coming along. And a lot of the billionaires that put money into India said, but what do you think? The United States is just going to roll over and play dead? And then Trump comes in and just knocks the chairs out from China all over the place. China's got people foreclosing on them now. They got all kind of problems going on over there. It's, but that's what happens when you artificially inflate your income to try to get everybody to help you out. Christopher, no, they were doing things like building buildings, but not putting anything in the buildings. But all that wire and copper and all that other stuff was resources that were being held, but the buildings weren't being used for anything. And there were lots of other things they were doing that was just trying to make them look like their growth was here when their growth was here. So they were trying to predict like an 18 or $19 trillion income, and it's going to be right around. They said 11.5, but they might re-estimate it down to like 10 3/4. So, that's U.S. is estimated at 36, I think, last I checked.
Yeah, they were operating on a champagne champagne taste with a beer budget.
And then if you add in the EU, I think the EU's is like 30 or 36. So I don't know. I know with the American and its allies, we control 100 trillion of the world's economy. So yes, we control the world's economy. In other words.
Well, I read something today that that Congress voted on a bill that we are not going into that central bank system.
Well, no, we're not. No, we're not going to anything that takes the power away from the United States. That's why the Bitcoin thing hasn't. Everybody, it's going to take off. It's going to take off. And I kept telling everybody it's not going to take off. Then they're like, "Why?" I said, "People are going to use it." I said, but the U.S. can't use it unless they can regulate it. And if you regulate Bitcoin, it's no longer Bitcoin. It's just another form of currency.
Well, and they would also have to insure it as well, just like they do with like the FDIC and all the other things they do with bank savings and loan insurance, all that.
And then the real problem is crypto money is fake money. It's not real money. It's not based on anything. It's based on air. So your computer, because I have a mining, I shouldn't have said that, but I have a mining. I got one of the original mining programs on my computer. And I know when the first coins came out, they were worth $66,000 a coin. I think currently they're around 26,000. Now, if you've got a lot of money, and you can, I got two friends of mine who own two mining farms in Texas. They built two 250,000 square foot buildings and filled them with state of the art equipment. Cost them somewhere upwards, I think, almost 20 mil a building. They've already made their money back plus. Currently, they're making each building brings a profit of about I think he said $8.8 million a month, and growing.
Well,
But see, they're flooding the market with Bitcoin. Eventually, other operators like that are going to come in and they're going to just flood. It's not going to be worth anything. It'll end up being worth chump change. And I keep just a little $100 portfolio on one of my apps. And when I bought them in a couple of weeks ago, it was 100. Now it's at 89. It goes up and down, but it has never got back to the 100 I originally put into it. It's an experiment for a friend of mine who's driving me crazy. It's I'm not, and then like I said, it's fake money. I don't feel comfortable with fake money.
Yeah. And the other thing that it's not backed by anything, the number one, but if it crashes like the stock market crashes do, it's only going to hurt a certain amount of people that have bought into it.
Yeah.
So, if we have a stock market crash with our actual country currency, it hurts the whole country. But
right.
People who've bought into these things, if it crashes, those few people they're going to suffer. I mean, all their money is out; they're done. But it'll hurt just a small elite few. So I don't know why anyone ever bought. When I first heard of the thing, I was like, well, why do they need this? It's like so you can get into a video game and pay for digital things with digital money. I just couldn't wrap my head around it, and I still can't.
All right, let me find our guest. End of the world type stuff, and all of that. Well, I know he sent it to me in the email. Oh, there it is. It's what happens when you get old people. You can't even find shit. Wait, something about his last name is driving me crazy. Levy Shoemaker, wasn't that a comment or something?
Shoemaker, no, it wasn't.
Shoemaker Levy or something. Wasn't that what it was?
It was a horse. I think it was a horse or a driver or.
I don't know what the hell it was. It's making me crazy though.
Shoemaker Levy was a comet discovered by two space scientists, but
okay, hopefully, yeah, it might be, but okay, hopefully he gets that without any much of a problem. While we're sitting here, comments. I have ended the world with one swift stroke. Hi, Phoenix. Phoenix, how are you?
What?
This guy named is Chris Phoenix. That's like Phoenix. How are you?
Oh, hi, Phoenix.
I was just being nice and saying hello. Let's see, messenger. Guys, it's hard to pick on him all the time. I mean, it's just. I start to just feel bad after a while. I mean, the guy is just pathetic. It's Uncle Biden.
Oh.
I just, after a while, you're kind of like, how many more times can you just F things up? Huge blow for Putin as American hands Zelensky devastating wonder weapon. What? What do we do now? Biden, so you go tell him to F himself and then you give him a wonder weapon? And what kind of wonder weapon are we talking about? Missile strikes hits. Wait a minute.
Didn't you say last show or a couple of shows ago that they were going to take off the rail guns off the Zoom wall?
Yeah.
Oh man. I hope he ain't gave them them. We don't want nobody to get their fingers on those, man. Those are devastating.
I mean, that's like a nuclear weapon, basically.
I know. Without the radiation, that makes it nice.
Japan has them on their ship. Japan. They got them on all their ships. And Chris wants to know, where is Michelle and Amelia?
Oh, they had their show came up on automatic on Roku between this and the Church of Mavis.
They are being themselves somewhere.
Yeah, that was a repeat. You probably saw.
They're we're not sexy enough for you?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Yeah.
I mean, I'm feeling kind of slighted here now, man. Come on.
Dude, I got some man boobs there. Yeah.
Church of Mavis is the show I'm on just before this show here at 8:00.
Yes, Church of Mavis. You know Mavis. Y'all know who Mavis is? Jeffrey Pritchett. That's who Mavis is. We got a guest with us. We're going to bring him in just a minute, but I don't know. I guess, like I said, I feel almost like I'm kicking a kid that's laying on the ground or something. It's just rough. Find an alien life when you wrote, but just became very likely. Yeah, I could have. Anyway, we're gonna leave that alone.
Yeah. Well,
Mark
the same
Garland.
thing about Enceladus too.
Mark Garland. Hunter lies blow up yet again by IRS. Was oh Jesus. Did they ever? Hey, by the way, before we bring on a guest, whatever happened to that F-35 that the guy jumped out of it and it kept flying? Did we retrieve that jet? Or did Russia get that jet? I mean, what happened? That's an F-35 just flying around the sky. What the hell happened to it? Was it loaded? I mean, I could never find anything else in the story.
Well, maybe they have some sort of autopilot return kind of thing. If the pilot has to eject, if the aircraft is still capable of flying back, maybe it homes in on its base station and goes back there. I don't know. That'd be kind of cool. But if you remember, that's not out of realm. I mean, there's science fiction spaceships have done that all the time. You've seen it in Star Wars. You've seen it in The Last Starfighter.
Maybe Martin might have an answer for us, Joe.
I don't know, but I mean, the thing, he abandoned his jet. I mean, it's first off, this isn't a cheap jet. It's highly just sophisticated, and then all of a sudden, it don't crash. It keeps flying. It reminds me of, what was that movie, Broken Arrow? That's what it reminds me of. Anyway, guys, we're going to bring in our guest right now. What was that, Curtis? No. We have a guest now. Yes, Martin Shoemaker. He's one of the winners from the Writers of the Future contest. He's an author. And we're going to let him come in and talk a little bit about himself in just a second. It's not at the Pentagon. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have read that. Martin, welcome to the show, man. I'm sorry. I just read something on the screen I shouldn't have read.
Hi, Martin.
Hi.
Welcome, Martin.
Glad to be here. Glad of the opportunity.
How you doing tonight?
Pretty good. I'm feeling a little bit bedraggled because you're catching me pretty late at night. I'd have been probably asleep by now, but never pass up the chance to talk to Joe.
No, it's yeah, I told him, because we have a new show starting. It's just going to be strictly for authors and illustrators. It's actually going to air. It's going to air on a Tuesday, probably before this man's show right here. So it'll either be 6 or 7, so it won't be near as late as this one is. This one we're usually doing a lot of news on. That's why we make it kind of late, because you never know what's going to come out of Jay or Jack's mouth up there. So you see me, I'm all sweet and innocent, like, so we don't have to worry about me, man. But that Jack Kelly guy, whew, man.
That's me.
That's why he's got an alias. Somebody asked me just a little while ago, why does Sean have an alias tonight? What's going on? Martin, tell me a little bit about yourself. I mean, first off, I always ask this question. I know I've asked you this before, but new audience. What made you submit to Writers of the Future? What was it? I mean, I'm going to win. And what made you think you were going to win? Because you had to think you're going to win if you're going to submit.
I'm the one that many other entrants hate, because I submitted almost randomly. I had been trying to build a writing career all my life, and I had no persistence. I'd get a rejection and I'd give up.
Yeah, well, that's not uncommon.
When I was 47, I stopped giving up a little bit. I started trying to try just a little harder, partly because it was easier by then. You could send things in via email or online submissions.
True.
And so I could try a few more times, and I still was almost ready to give up. And Writers of Future judge Dean Wesley Smith had talked about the contest. And Jerry Purnell and Larry Niven also had talked about the contest. But Dean really made me understand it. And so when I was literally on my last submission, I'm going to submit this, and then I'm going to go back to writing code, because I'm good at writing code. So my last
code's good money.
I gave up was the Writers of the Future. And I literally forgot about it. 3 months later, I get a phone call saying that my story was a finalist. And I was so new to the contest, I didn't even realize what that meant. But then when the story didn't win, but when they told me that Jerry Purnell loved my story and thought it should have won, that's when I gave up giving up, because Jerry was one of my idols, one of my favorite authors. And when Jerry loves your story, that means you got something. You can't give up.
Yeah. And Chris, you ain't got to shut up, man. I was just giving you trouble. It's a, hey, what you hanging?
Thank
See,
you.
As
we have we have those all
is
the time.
named for Larry Niven, and his brother over here is named for Jerry Purnell.
Now you know at the last two galas, I was Larry Niven's date, right?
Yeah.
It's, no, people don't take that the wrong way, please.
That's fine.
We don't want to start no trouble here, but no, because he's a nice guy, and the girls like to make sure I stay busy when I'm visiting. Either Emily or Sarah. Or nothing. Oh, nothing. Come here. I got something for you to do. So last year, the year before last, I was kind of like his escort or whatever. He's getting up there now, and he's a great guy to talk to though, because I can never. So the very first year I meet this guy, he looks at me like I got the plague. I'm not kidding, y'all, man. He's like, because I want to get an interview with him. He's like, and he goes over by John, and he's like. I'm like, what I got, like, something with my face or something? What's going on here? And but I never could. And then that year before last, there was a lot going on, and I forgot who it was grabbed me by Joni did, and she said, "Can you keep an eye on Larry and just walk him through the setup?" And I'm like, "Sure." And we actually got to talk because I have my arm looped up to his, and we got to chit chat. And then he actually, well, who are you? I'm the guy, the burglar guy. I'm gonna put you in a limo, man. Oh, he was a lot of fun to talk to. He really was, though. He's got a lot of great stories. He's like, he's got a lot of great stories. He reminds me of Larry Elmore, because Larry's got another one that's got a lot of great stories. Yeah, and I mean, one's Arthur, one's illustrated, but still, both of them are a wealth of stories. Well, people, this is Writers of the Future we're talking about, and Martin's one of the winners. And it's you just the people you meet here, you're just not going to meet anywhere else. I can't put it like Dean Leslie Smith. Dean is a very ambitious gentleman, and he's really got his stuff together, and he stays busy. And if you think you're just going to walk up on and grab him, maybe if he's somewhere he's speaking or something, you might get him down for a few minutes or something. But here at this contest, at this gala event, he'll actually sit there and chat with you. He'll teach you the course. He'll actually work with you. He'll help you to understand what's going on. And not just talking about just the writing. He actually teaches, him and I actually sat there and discussed what an S corp was, what a corporation was a full corporation was, what was sole proprietorship. Because a couple of the youngins, I shouldn't say youngins, because most of these authors are 35 or older. But they didn't actually understand it. So we sat there and discussed it for 2 hours. That was an education you'd have had to pay big money to get. And then after that, he was telling them how to do this, or what's a better way to approach this. Because Dean can write. I mean, he's a prolific writer. He's just, I don't know how he does what he does. He reminds me of Nick Redfern, who Nick writes 9 to 5, 5 days a week. Yeah, and he turns out a book every week.
He's diverse in many, many topics as well.
Yes,
I mean,
he is.
He's amazing.
So he's the same way. So I know you like to write some sci-fi, but what is your favorite genre to write in? Well, first off, what was your genre you won in? I should ask you first.
I fortunately won with what really is my favorite, although I've gotten distracted away from it recently. Of near future, near space, hard science fiction, stuff in the vein of The Martian.
Oh, I like that kind of stuff myself.
Where it's very realistic, no magic, no psionic powers, no super aliens or whatever. It is the next step off this planet.
Yeah, see, I love that kind of
based
stuff.
on actually a Jerry Purnell concept.
I love that. I mean, it's one of the things that got me hooked on Babylon 5, because it was the first soap opera sci-fi I seen that kind of represented the way we would probably be in space, using some type of jump gate, involved in everybody's politics, because that's who the hell we are, and that's how we're going to be when we get into space.
Massive
But there was no,
exopolitics.
I mean, all the races were basically, the same. Nobody was super. It was like being home on Earth. I mean, we were just everyday people who were just trying to make it through space. And I've seen a couple other ones I've enjoyed like that. To me, just recently I seen, what was it called, Mars or something, where they just went to Mars and they had landed on Mars and they were starting their colony in this cave in Mars, and they're just going through the whole thing. And then I think the Russians or somebody else sent somebody there. But anyway, Elon Musk kept popping up in it, and a couple of real scientists. So right in the middle of this TV program, they would drop in some explanations for the science, and there would be real scientists there explaining to you, which I thought was cool as hell. I was like, well, wait a minute now. So stuff like that just fascinates. I can't wait to see you put down stuff like that.
Can I ask Martin a question?
Yeah, ask away.
Martin, how long does it take you to get a story in your head? I mean, trust me, I have no clue on how authors work, how writing a book is. What do you actually do in order to start writing a book or writing a story? Do you do a lot of research? Do you just use what you know?
Well, I have to preface this with every author, every story, it's different every time. There's an old Rudyard Kipling poem where the punchline is, there are 69 ways of constructing tribal lays, and every single one of them is right.
Okay.
So I can tell you what I do, and I can tell you that I'm going to find 100 people doing exactly the opposite.
Okay.
But we mentioned Dean Wesley Smith. He is a big proponent of what are called Heinlein's rules for a writing career. And they essentially come down to, you got to write, you got to finish, you got to hold off from trying to edit it to death so that you don't ever actually get it out there. You got to get it out there. You got to keep it out there. And I have taken this to heart so that I now do what is sometimes called pantsing, sometimes called discovery writing. Pantsing means we're writing by the seat of the pants, where I literally just start with a phrase or something and I just start dictating it. And I dictate until I've got a story. And people who are more used to outlining are really perplexed by this, because they feel like if they do this, if they don't have a plan first, they're going to write themselves into a corner. And in my experience, it never happens, because if I find myself into a corner, I write myself out of it.
Okay. Chris Phoenix says, how long does it take for Martin to write a book?
It has varied. It averages about a month to a month and a half for me if I sit down and do it. If I procrastinate, it can be a lot longer than that. But my first novel, Today I Am Carrie, was dictated between the second week of January and the last week of February in 1 year. I have had a couple that aren't yet published that were done again in a month when I sit down and make myself do it. That's the real thing. It's just the discipline. I dictate on my treadmill, so I managed to get exercise and words written. And if I can be consistent at that, I can dictate something in the neighborhood of 5,000 words a day on my treadmill. Or if I dictate when driving, it's 5,000 words a day. Well, if your novel is 100,000 words and you're doing 5,000 a day, that's not that long. If I stick with it, if I let myself get distracted, if there's an audiobook I'd rather listen to, then it can take me longer.
I can see that. It's right now I'm listening to John gave me Mission Earth to listen to.
Thank you, Martin.
And I keep trying to people keep trying to get it.
He's frozen up.
No, we got him, Martin. You still there, right? You
I'm
didn't freeze.
frozen.
No, he's frozen. Jay's frozen.
Oh, Jay was frozen. Jay, don't be frozen. Let's use some internet. There he goes. Internet. It's
Yep, I'm frozen.
Yes, you have been probed by extraterrestrials, and but he has me listening to Mission Earth. I think I'm on. This thing is huge. I mean, I play Battlefield Earth for them every year between Christmas, the week before Christmas and the week before New Year's. It's 48 hours, I think. It's huge. And then of course I play War of the Worlds because I can't help myself. I love playing War of the Worlds, the original, only the original. And people, I've had people write into me and say, I can actually understand why they thought this was real listening to the original version because it's the original version with its commercials and it's analog, the whole bunch of it. It's even got its damn, because it was poor radio quality back then. Was kind of great. It was a lot of fun though. But this Mission Earth is huge. Just this thing, I think it's 10 books.
Yep.
It's I gotta say, y'all can buy the books. You just can't get the audio now, but you can go buy the books. I'm listening to the audio. What's his name is doing the voice. He was just on this show a couple weeks ago. Damn,
Jim Meskimen.
Jim Mescalin. He's doing
Really?
he's doing Soltar Grease. That's the protagonist in the thing. This guy is such an ass loser. It's not even funny, man. I can't talk about this guy because, I mean, he is the epitome of every loser you can think of rolled up into one guy, and he thinks he's so damn smart. It's just kind of funny at the time. But there's a lot of good stuff in it, and they were on their home world. Now they're on Earth, but it's fun to listen to. It's got a lot of weirdness in it too. It's something you'd expect from Elron. But yes. So you what's next? Another novel? Something good? Something near? Oh man, come on! If you get something near sci-fi Earth, I mean near future, you got to send it to me.
Well,
Oh wait, which book? Somebody just asked me which book. Can you see these? I don't know if you can see them or not. Hold on. I don't know. Let's see if you. There they are. There they are. Somebody was asking me which one of these books were you in. I know people, so.
I was in number 31.
Dun, 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 dun. This one right here. If you buy the set, you can get all 10 of them from 30 to 39. They got them on sale only on the network. You can't get them anywhere else for $120. They're on sale with us, so you can get them. And I have read most of these just because they're short. What I do is 39 I could cheat because it's an audio book, but the rest of them you actually got to read. So anytime we got to fly, I'll usually read the ones for the events first, and then they sent me all kind of them. So they're all over the place. Actually, here you are again, right here, 31. Matter of fact, let's see if we can do this without pissing the alien head off.
Hey, Chris, real quick while Joe does that. I'm not Chris, Martin. Since I don't know Mr. Shoemaker's work, which one should I start with?
It really depends on your preference. My first novel, I am very proud of. It is not my typical work, but it's really, really something that meant a lot to me, called Today I Am Carrie. It's a story of 4 generations of a family as told by the android they adopt. So it's not a far-flung space mission. It is a domestic story about this android learning about humanity by taking care of an Alzheimer's patient and then becoming part of her family after she passes. And so you have to be, I mean, there is one gunshot in the entire book. So it's published by Baen Books, known for their military science fiction. But this one isn't military. It's family domestic struggles. And I'm proud of it, but it is not what I sort of came into this field to do, which is I would start with The Last Dance if you want to read character drama in space. Last Dance was the #1 science fiction book on Amazon for the month of October 2019? I think that was 2019. It's got huge ratings and is very popular with people who are looking at that more space oriented thing. It is, for an analogy, think of it as Citizen Kane in space.
Citizen Kane. So this one,
wow. That's wow. That's crazy. I don't know. And he says he's going to start. He's going to look you up, and he's looking forward to reading it. Your novel there. But The Last Dance, that sounds pretty. The Last Dance is interesting. See, with me, Martin, and I'll be honest with you, and I'll tell all Joe's people that I have ADHD. Okay, so if I was to open up your book, and this is me only, I would read the first 10 pages, go into the middle, and read 10 pages out of the middle, and then I'll read the last 10 pages of the book. I just, it's real hard for me. It's real hard for me to comprehend a novel. I just can't read. But if you give it to me on an audio book, I can follow it.
Now, I am obviously biased here, but my favorite audiobook of all time is The Last Dance because of a very personal reason. The Last Dance is told like Citizen Kane, that you've got stories in the past, flashbacks from different characters' points of view against the backdrop of a story in the present. Mm-hmm. In my wildest dreams, I wanted every one of those stories in the past to be told by a different voice actor who was the voice of that character. Okay. And darn if they didn't do exactly that.
Well, that's always cool.
That one really hit home for me because every one of those, I'm hearing my characters in their different voices because of different actors on each of them.
That is pretty cool. That's cool. But yes. I might just have to come up and go find it. Where can I find that audiobook, The Last Dance?
It's certainly on Audible and on Amazon. I haven't paid attention to other audio markets because I am a slave to the Amazon ecosystem. That it's so easy. They've got me just roped around their.
Yeah, because they give me like 3 free a month now. They just send them to me and say, just pick which ones you want. I'm like, yeah, really, okay. So this is the artwork for your story, isn't it?
Yep, yeah, that is from Jessica T.C. Lee, an amazing artist originally from China and operating out of San Francisco now.
Yeah, see, that's nice. Let's see. And I think if I got the stories right, let's see. Yeah, that's you. There's his name. All right, there we go. Unfriend by Mark L. Shoemaker. So this is book 31. These are still available on sale.
And I should mention that 31 for some reason got an audiobook too.
Oh, did it? I'll have to find it then. I'll get John to send it to me is what I'll do. I'll give him a call and say, hey, John, why don't you send me that? Okay, and so there you go, 31. Of course, if you can't get it single, you can always get it in the 10-pack over here. But I have faith that you can find it. Just go to galaxypress.com, and that'll you'll get it there. It's tough on me because I just don't get the time to read. For me, I prefer audiobooks too. Besides if they're done right, like the one I'm listening to right now, Missionaries, there's lots and lots of sound effects. There's different voices. You can visualize most of what they're talking about, which is nice for me. It's like the good guy right now. He's living in a whorehouse in New York City. It's just weird the way he got there in the first place. And he's like 17, but he's from another world and super, he's not super strong, but different gravity here. So he's a little more strong than he would be at home. It's interesting story, but that's the one from Mission Earth. So that's L. Ron Hubbard's last story. Yep. And I think it was like 150,000 words or something. We're going to find out.
If I may ask, what is the basic amount of words in a novel?
That's going to vary somewhat by genre, somewhat by publisher. I think nobody would call something less than 40,000 words a novel.
Okay.
But most publishers today are kind of looking at 80 to 100. And then after that, the longer ones, you've got to be someone special. Obviously, Hubbard had his own publisher helping to promote his stuff. So that was why they were willing to take a chance on a longer work, because they knew his work, they knew him, They knew it would sell. But the larger books are harder to market in general, because if you think about 40,000 versus 180,000, clearly there's a lot of just plain physical shipping and printing costs for that 180,000 word book. And readers aren't going to want to spend enough to cover that cost. So they have to really believe in the sales potential for a longer work. 80 to 100,000 is kind of, that'll sell or it won't, but it's kind of traditional range.
Okay. I could never do that.
Yeah.
No, I could not. I would have to dictate the story and give somebody to type it out.
Yeah.
I couldn't. And I'm from Pittsburgh, so I have a different dialect. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's real hard to put proper English into a story for me. But when I write it, I put the Pennsylvania Pittsburgh Gaelic, or whatever you want to call it. Do you understand what I mean there, Martin?
Yeah, and honestly, every editor I have ever talked to says the most important thing to sell and distinguish your story is your unique voice.
Oh, really?
That they want it to be your story in your words, not Chicago Manual of Style or one of those style guides.
Mm-hmm.
Because your story in your words is your unique storytelling. Just like the storyteller around the fires, the campfire, for thousands and thousands of years, everyone had their personality in their story.
Okay.
So if you've got a particular phrasing, that actually is a plus. And if an editor has a problem with that, then you need to find another editor in another market, because yes, they may have their preferences and their reasons, but there's somebody else out there who wants to hear your voice.
Okay. Thank you for all that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Sorry, my email just went insane. What's that? Fairy, what? Fairy around the. Okay, I'm not even going there. I have no idea what that's supposed to mean. But anyway, what's your question? Fairy. Fiery fairy. I mean, what? I mean, you're just killing me with these fairy things. Yeah. Oh no. Okay, I can answer that for you. You go to writersofthefuture.com and you can take the free course. Yes, I don't know if Martin ever took it or not, but I have. Yes. Can you believe that? And I quit right as it was time to write the thing. I think I do it just to aggravate Emily, but it's still. Yeah, I don't know. It's a secret, guys. It's a secret. So well, I know this has been a little while back now, 31, because it's what, 7-8 years ago. But I mean, how did you feel when they call? I mean, because we always kid around Joni, because Joni's the one who calls everybody and says, hey, you're the chit and you won. And I mean, how did you feel? I mean, were you like, really, did I win? Or, oh, I knew damn good and well I was going to win? Or, I mean, just how did it play out for you? I'm curious.
It was an interesting situation. First, that I'd already been a finalist twice before. I didn't win either of those two times, but I'd already been a finalist. So the finalists all get a call, and then the winners or the losers get calls after the judges have done finishing judging the finalists. So I was kind of in the zone that, yeah, I get the call from Joni and it's exciting. And Joni's from Michigan like me, so we always gab about local systems, local weather and stuff. But there's something more that this one, that there are specific rules for the contest for who is eligible and who is not. And the rules basically say, if you have published more than 3 short stories, and more than 3 means 4, but for some reason everybody thinks it means 3. If you have published more than 3 short stories at professional rates and professional markets, you're not eligible anymore. And it happens. We call it proing out, and some really great people, including contest judge Kevin J. Anderson, have proed out that they sold so many stories that they weren't considered an amateur anymore. I was at a point where I could see myself proing out, that I could see that, hey, I am going to have 3 and heading up to 4 coming out. So I'm like, okay, I better get this done. If I'm going to win this thing, I better get it done. And then all of a sudden, I got news on a short story. Well, technically, we call it a novella given the length, called Murder on the Aldrin Express, that was published by Analog, that is part of The Last Dance today. That story had been selected by Gardner Dozois for his year's best science fiction collection. And I'm like, okay, this is going to come out in a year and a half, and you're not ineligible until the story gets actually published. But I picked up the phone and called Joni and said, Joni, I'm not eligible anymore. And I explained this, and she said, you're right. Because if people see your name in a year's best, they're not going to think you're an amateur writer in an amateur writing contest. And so I said, okay, so I'm ineligible. And she said, yes, but the story you have in right now is still eligible because you submitted it before this news. So it's like, okay, that's fine with me. She said, go win this thing. So when she called, we were both kind of laughing because she was giving me news that I more than half expected. That I felt like this was almost fated, that this was my last chance. And I just felt like I'm going to win. Because if I don't win this one, I'm out.
It would have sucked to not to have won it either. And,
It would have.
But you know, like you said, it was fated. Sometimes the universe works like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just when it gets to rolling, karma can get to rolling the other way too, my friends.
Yeah, Tim.
You just gotta hope it's going to roll in the right direction. That's all. No. You mean fate? No. Okay, I tell people this all the time. I am not here to experience karma. I am here to teach karma. Okay, that's how that works. I'm not here to experience karma. I'm only here to teach karma. So be careful when you're around me. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, go ahead, Sean.
There's one author I do enjoy the audio books, and it's Dick Francis. Have you ever heard of him?
Mystery writer, right?
Yeah, he's from England, and he used to be a jockey for the Queen's. Now I can listen to him. Now, in your stories, do you have a certain character?
It depends. I write a lot in first person, where it's a particular person telling their story. And I have people tell me that that's old-fashioned and no one writes that way anymore. And it's like, I do, and I can't help it. I write the story that pops into my head. Like I said, seat of the pants. When I sit down and start telling a story, I will either hear something like, Bob went to the mill that day, or I went to the mill that day. And whichever way that story starts out, that's how I'm writing it. And there are reasons why I look and say, this is why it made sense to open that way. But for me, it's strictly a choice, and it's most of the time going to be first person. My next story coming out in Analog is third person. But the story after that coming out in Analog will again be first person.
Can you please explain to me what Analog is?
Analog Science Fiction and Fact magazine is the magazine that was originally founded as Astounding Science Fiction back in, I want to say 1928, something like that it's nearly a century. It is the longest continuously published science fiction magazine in the business, and it is still the gold standard for many readers. Now, there are tons of other great magazines out there, but for me, growing up as a kid, getting a story in Analog was the thing to do that showed I'd really made it. Asimov's, which is their sister magazine, was similarly the thing to do, and I haven't cracked that one yet, so I'm frustrated. I need to get something they'll buy. But for me, Analog was essentially a 13-year-old kid's dream come true when I started selling there. And this one that I just sold recently in the last month will be my 11th story in analog.
Ah, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's interesting. Joe?
Oh, I must have hit when I. Damn it! Sorry, guys, I hit the wrong button. I'm like, why isn't my mic working? And I didn't. I looked up and the little red lights flashing in my face. Yeah, that's why it's not working. I don't know. Well, I mean, so see, that sucks. You can't go back and win no more. You like drawing? I mean, you could go draw. You could be an illustrator, man. See, I think
if you can win with stick figures.
See, you and I got the same problem there. I said we should have winners by categories. Like so each category should have a winner, and that way you have more chances to win.
Yeah.
But they're not going to listen to me. Besides that, at the last 4 seasons, somebody's asked me, have you picked any of the winners right or any of the illustrator? No, not even close, by the way. I don't know. I mean, they all have good works. That's not the issue. And all the stories are fun to read. So that's really not the issue either. They're all entertaining stories. And they're all entertaining stories without, being filled with disgustingness. So that's always a plus too. It's family friendly entertainment, really.
PG-13 rated.
It's basically what it is. Hell, I'm not even sure it's PG-13. It's
PG-13 is the official standard.
Yeah, but I mean, from when you read them, they're just good, strong stories, and when the first time I read any, I was just amazed when I was reading through it. I was like, wow, this reminds me of when I was a kid, because everything back then there was none of that stuff in. Today you can't watch TV without something, just something nasty, something disgusting, something just. It's either going to be hard sex or hard drugs or let's blow somebody up. Let's have a lot of blood and guts. You don't really need that if you know how to tell a story. But so I enjoy for that, especially for that. My boy Jay is back. Jay is evil, man. Just in case y'all didn't know that. He is Satan's stepson. You know how evil he had to be Satan's stepson? He's Jack's stepdaddy, so that's even worse, man. I'm just saying. Martin didn't see. Poor Martin didn't. Yeah. Martin's like, how the hell I get in this group? Yeah. So I mean, so what are you doing right now? I mean, you just chilling, you doing any touring, hanging out, signing the autographs.
I will be a 3-day writer guest at the Grand Rapids Comic-Con in November, which is something I've been dreaming of for a long time because it's a con in my backyard practically.
Yeah, that's nice.
But they only have so many author slots. I mean, I give them full credit for this. They've got 25,000 to 30,000 people coming through their doors, and there are maybe 50 people coming to the writing panels. They could manage to be a completely successful convention with no writing panels at all. So the fact that they have writing panels is a great thing. They're trying to support the creators in the community. But they only have room for just a few. They basically have one track out of the whole convention for writing stuff. And so they can't put everybody in that might want to be there. So after many years of trying to get involved, I made the right connections. And this year they invited me to be a 3-day guest. So I will be there all 3 days and will be giving 2 presentations on writing in general, but writing science fiction in particular.
Yeah, awesome. See, that sounds fun to me. I mean, chill.
Yeah. It's always good when it's your convention. You know the convention grounds. You can get around easier. You know the shortcuts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So. Where's this at, Martin?
Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Oh, okay. You ever been out the East Coast?
I went to Albicon in Albany one time, and that has been my only professional writing appearance in the East Coast. I visited it for my day job of a programmer. I visited the East Coast a few times. Mm-hmm. Rhode Island and New York and Connecticut and stuff. But that was before my writing days, honestly.
Stay away from the East Coast, people. Stay away. I'm just
They're
friendly
not bad.
from DC up all the way to Chicago. Stay away.
Albacon was fun because I got to meet a lot of friends there, and I got to meet Barry Longyear, who was one of my writing influences since I was that 13-year-old kid. Barry was the guy who I learned from, and I finally got to meet him face to face at Albacon 4 years ago. I think it was 4 years. So for that, I was happy to go to the East Coast.
The East Coast is evil. I'm just telling you, it's
I
evil.
don't
Why
know,
is it
man.
evil, Joe?
And it's
Talk to me.
Putin's first target. So it's two bad things.
Yeah, we are the closest
So-
to his country, but then
So
again, so he can hit us on both sides.
did Chicago not produce little Lori Lightfoot? I mean, come on. Let's just come on, and let's not even get into New York and the things that's been going on over there lately. We're just gonna leave them alone because I got friends in New York. I don't want to hear y'all whine about how bad y'all got it. No, I mean, because they whine like, oh, we got this new mayor. Oh, he sucks. We had this other mayor. We had this other mayor. Do y'all ever get a mayor that don't suck? How's that? Oh, you mean, do we ever? No, we don't ever get a mayor that don't suck. No, we have two that hasn't. But other than that, all the rest of them have. No, it's just politics, people. Behave yourselves. Who's going to write a book? And we care. Why is the New York governor going to write a book? And why do I care? You know what? Tell her to submit it to Writers of the Future. Yes, write her a letter. Tell her to submit it. Yeah, because
Can't win unless you submit.
Yeah, submit it. Tell her to submit. Well, I doubt she's probably what's in it wouldn't be good for them anyway, but tell her to submit anyway, just so we can all have a good laugh.
Now,
Yes.
17,000 word limit. So if she's working on a book, that won't cut it.
Yeah, you gotta have at least 17. That's it. 17,000 minimum.
No more than 17,000.
Oh,
No
that's
more.
right, max. That's right. I forgot.
Yep.
That is it. Yeah.
Uh,
Am I writing something? So, I started channeling Elrond three times back when I was out in LA, and I wrote 12,000 for one night and 8,000 another night. Currently, I'm sitting at 44,000 words over the last 3 years. I can only seem to write it when I'm there. There's too much goes on in my house. There's too much goes on in my life to sit down and actually. But for some reason, after listening to the authors all day long, or the illustrators, whoever I'm happen to be hanging out with, it helps to focus me. So I can sit up on my laptop and, or I can put the auto program on and start talking to it. But either way, but this is an 11-day experience, so this is going to end up being 120, 150,000 words, or somewhere up in there. And then I'm going to put it in a vanilla envelope and send it to Miss Emily to edit. Oh, yeah, she'll hate me after that. She's the one who talked me into writing something. It's her fault. So
Yep.
we're blaming her. What Jay has a church. Jay don't go to church. He goes to the Church of Mavis, yes, but he don't go to church.
Yeah,
No,
that's
it's kind of like the Raelians. If you know what the Raelians are, yeah, it's like a cult. Yes, Jay's like the number 2 cult guy, and he's got the little stick things that go around, little shock sticks when you don't behave.
Hey, Martin, you should write about Jay. Seriously.
He makes the Masons look like, I'm just telling y'all, it's scary. What do you got for Martin? What's that? Dragon Con? Dragon Con's over. You mean Dragon Con next year? That's next year. I mean, Dragon Con just passed. Matter of fact, the good ones are in FanX right now in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And then there's one going on in Canada somewhere that he's talking about. These things are all over the place. Well, they were just down in Tampa. I was going to go see him, but I got busy before the FanX one. I mean, before the Dragon Con one. Yeah, there seems to be a con in every. Okay, that don't sound right, but y'all know what I mean. There does. Well, if you were rich, you could, they're not cheap.
There's a lot of cons on the Eastern Seaboard. There's at least 3 in Baltimore alone.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't want you all to think, okay, but I've never been to one.
You should
Not
go.
mine.
They're a lot of fun. If you like science fiction stuff and comic books, you should go. They're a lot of fun.
Jack thinks science fiction people are weird.
People in scientific and and the scientific writers, they think I'm weird. Everybody thinks I'm weird.
There's nothing wrong with
So you fit right in.
It's
I hunt ghosts, Martin. I hunt ghosts.
That's probably a much simpler thing than going to some of these conventions. Some of the big ones are just too much crowd for me.
No, I could see that. Dragon Con gave me a freaking headache. Well, one, I ain't near as young as I used to be, and two, Atlanta. Okay, whoever in the bleep decided to build Atlanta on the top of bleeping mountains was just bleeping stupid. I mean, put it in the valley, put it on top, but don't put it up and down 15, 16 little mountains. I mean, it's just ignorant. You up and down, up and down, up and down. You get your exercise. Ain't no doubt about that part. But I mean,
it's hilly. It's almost as bad as San Francisco, but not quite.
Oh God! In some places, it might be
worse.
worse.
On top of that, Joe, the convention goes 24/7 for 5 straight days. So there's people up all day long at those conventions. There's a drum circle every midnight. It's insane. And people drink until 3 a.m. The bar in the restaurants, the bar in the hotels are open until 3 a.m. So I mean, there's a lot.
They are kind of a little wimpy on partying, but that's I won't hate.
You know what? What's big in Pittsburgh though is the furries. They come into Pittsburgh. They started in Pittsburgh. It's traditional now. Every year that the furries come into Pittsburgh.
They do drugs.
Dude, they dress up like animals and shit. And
just like animals, like mascot animals, and then
my God, come on. I'm moving. People. Elon, when are we going to Mars, dude? Come on now. This is just ridiculous. I'm ready, man. He's pissing me off. I'm telling you what. I'm gonna. You
can't afford that ticket though yet.
I need to hire them. What are them Russian girls that run around topless all the time protesting? I need to hire them to go protest on Elon. Really, I mean, he's. I'm telling you what. I have been able to get hold to a lot of people. I've done some serious big interviews. Getting hold of Elon is like getting hold of God. It might be easier to get hold of God. I think I might get an interview with the Pope. This guy is just like he's got. I call her the blonde bitch, which I probably shouldn't say on the air, but she's tough, man. If you can get around everybody else, sooner or later, it's like she's like the roadblock. Bam! You're like, what? She said, "Who are you?" I said, "I'm with United Public Media." Who? I just want to talk to Elon about. I said, "Look, I got a degree in science." I said, "Because we can talk science." I said, "Because I got a bachelor's in science, so we can just chit chat science all night long. I love to talk science." And she's like, click. Like, what the bleep? Oh, it's hard, man. It's tough. What can I tell you? It's tough. Well, come on. I've interviewed Elon Musk. I mean, not Elon Musk. Michio Kaku, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Paul Levette. I mean, I've done some pretty big scientists. And really,
you interviewed Stanton Friedman,
and I did Stanton Friedman 44 times. But Michio was a great interview. What's funny about this interview?
He's a smart dude.
Him and I did this interview, and we got into a couple of things. And then we got into stepping stone theories, and then we're having a great conversation. And I'm watching the audience go. It was too much science. It was just too much. We geeked out.
You hanging in there, Martin? You hanging in there?
Martin would geek out with him. I tell you now, I could look at Martin's face. He'd be geeking out. People like that, you get some good book ideas from him too. He's definitely different. What's that, Kelly Rena? Where are you from? San Francisco. Yeah, okay. Yeah, everybody in San Francisco is weird, right? Everybody. Mm-hmm. There is no exception to the rule. If you live in San Fran, you are weird. Oh, okay. So you want him to do what? Write a book about, she said, can you do like a book, say like on Elfin, but through science instead of magic? Or explain some of what the Elfin is through a science instead of magic? Or, wait, what? Maybe I misreading.
No, she's talking about elves, fairies,
Yeah, so
little
I
people.
think she's saying, can you do it to where it looks like magic, but it's science? Is that right? Is that what you're trying to get across?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Well, I was just having a hard time with it for some reason. What do you think, Martin? Can you do one like that?
There have been, I don't know about that specific example, but there have been plenty of cases of this all through the history of science fiction. Always remember Arthur C. Clarke's rule that sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. So certainly there have been cases like that. I have seen cases where vampirism is actually a virus and a whole medical explanation for vampires. Certainly there are cases where you have creatures who seem to be magical and turn out to be aliens. So I think she should work up that idea and start writing on it, because I think it would have a pretty good chunk of audience. The trick is always finding them.
Yeah. Well, we know elves are big.
17,000 words or less.
I mean, think about it. You can have like fairies out there that carry missiles that that would probably catch things on fire and burn down cities and shit like that. You know what I mean? Could do it.
What?
I mean, that's the way I look at it. But see, for me, my imagination just goes to a certain place, and I cannot think beyond that. Do you know what I mean? Because if I start thinking beyond something, then I'm saying to myself, why am I writing this? Why am I thinking this? Because it's not going to happen.
See, I don't never think nothing's not going to happen. Christopher Neil deGrasse Tyson is the curator of the New York Museum. He's the science part. Well, he runs the whole thing now, but he's a scientist. He's a theorist. He's not quite as popular as Michio, but he is. And
well, they've both been extensively interviewed on Ancient Aliens and other type shows about that.
And Paul Levitt is the scientist who discovered the cosmic pulse that comes around about every 26,000 years or so. No, it's nowhere near. When it starts coming, you'll see like a blue glow off. You'll see a blue star off in the distance, and the star over time will just get bigger and bigger and bigger until it engulfs our solar system. No, they've proved it. Yeah, they went and dug it up in the North Pole and found the debris. About every 26,000 years, the core gives off a pulse, and it just is sent across the galaxy. Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter. It's every 26,000 years, but it takes that long to get there it's got to go. It's already traveling here. It's already going on. Yeah, we just won't see it yet because we're so far from the core. We're way out in the spiral. We're not like close to the galactic core. We're
in between spiral arms. We're in a virtually
we're
unpopulated part of our galaxy.
I think we're past the third arm out. We're way out there, guys. Well, no, they just upped the size of the galaxy, so it was 100,000 light years. Now it's 160,000 light years.
Yeah, and
that's a significant change.
How the hell can they measure that? I
with
don't
those
understand.
telescopes, the Hubble type telescopes, they can measure those distances, and they're pretty accurate.
Yeah, they're pretty close.
But that we were put at I think 65 to 70,000 miles from the center, so we're pretty close to the furthest middle edge of the galaxy.
Yeah, they I think with this new one they're going to add an arm on top of us, but so we'll be like in between. But still, that's why they said the tall whites used to come here, because we were a great jumping point to the next galaxy, of course, which is Andromeda. Andromeda is 1 billion light years away, people, before anybody asks. Yeah, it's not like it's around a freaking corner or something. See, that's all technologies Martin can write about, though, man. He just go to town with that kind of stuff. Man, you got to write me some good sci-fi. I've been craving some sci-fi, Martin. It's ridiculous. I tell John all the time, it's because of people like you that I get involved in this, because y'all eventually going to write me some sci-fi that I can be like, oh, God, thank you. I'm serious. I mean, today's sci-fi, how can I say this politely? It's just getting lacking. It just doesn't seem to be as good as other ones. Yes, John, I like The Expanse. You know what I liked about The Expanse? When he says, I'm that guy. I'm sorry. That's just bad on my part.
So you're saying when Star Trek, that whole series stopped, then whatever it is, just thought being good?
It's not that. I mean, it's just I'm older. I want to see something different. Martin, do you have any favorite sci-fi? I mean, any favorite sci-fi shows or movies or anything that's it's like I can't live without this?
Um, tend to be able to live without just about anything because it's more. I watch by listening while I'm working,
Mm-hmm.
so nothing is absolutely gripping me. But I thought, and I think it's on Hulu now, but it used to be on Fox. I thought the Orville
Oh yeah, I love the
was
Orville.
the
It's
best
funny as
Star
Yeah.
fuck.
Trek in 20 years.
Yeah, know what I hate to say, but I
They,
agree
well,
with you.
they had to get their parameters together. For the first season was it.
It's a
They didn't
little
know if they were
crude.
going to try to be a drama or a comedy or try to do both. So they finally got their drive, their focus. So it's starting to pick up speed now that they have their. It's still got some
Yeah,
funny parts,
Horizons
but
was a good
there's some
season.
serious science fiction to it as well.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but the last season was good, and I hear that this next season's going to be good. So, and Seth's funny anyway. I mean, he does funny stuff anyway. So not everything he does is funny, but he does a lot of funny stuff. So I mean, and then because when I first heard about it, I'm like, man, do I even want to watch this? And then I watched the first season. It was kind of crude, but it was
They were just getting their
still
sea legs going.
though there was something about it that was smooth enough that I wanted to see another season. And then I've watched all of them now. I've really enjoyed it. I think they fit right into their roles. And I agree, it is the best sci-fi in 20 years. Now, I don't know about with New Strange New Worlds, they might give a run for their money, but Discovery
Strange New Worlds is
sucked.
good. Strange New Worlds
Discovery,
was really
if
good.
you take Discovery as Star Trek, it just sucks. I mean, if you take it as sci-fi, it's okay, but as Star Trek, it sucks. And as far as Picard goes, I know the last season was oh my god, but John, look, I love you. I love you since I seen you in Dune the first time. But dude, retire.
Well,
I mean,
he's got to retire. That's
I mean,
he's
no,
too
I mean,
old.
just it just and then now, if you want to put 7 or 9 out there in her own spaceship, I'm all for that.
That's
I'm all
coming.
for that.
You laugh.
It's
That's coming next. She's
but
going to have the Enterprise, and it's going to be a new show.
so I mean, I'm just, and then my
Now, how
friends
many writers actually did Star Trek?
Jesus.
Oh God,
What'd
tons
you
of
think,
them.
Mark?
I forget the guy's name. Martin's probably going to kill me. He probably knows the answer. The guy who came up with the cat race called the Kazinti. He wrote for the. He's a famous actor, famous writer. He wrote for the cartoon series Star Trek: The Animated Series, and they brought his Kazinti cartoon characters into the live action world in one of the Star Trek. It's this undiscovered country. There's a Kazinti woman dancing on the bar at that planet out in the middle of nowhere. So.
Oh, Larry Niven.
I can't remember the actor. Larry Niven, thank you. Yes.
Yep.
Larry Niven's a very
The guy my
famous
cat is
sci-fi
named
writer.
after.
Yeah.
Yeah, Larry's great.
I swear, I'm just going to have to start, doing some research on this science fiction stuff.
Well,
Man,
we just like
it
to
took
have
me
fun with
5 years to learn about aliens, cryptids, and all kinds of other crap.
it.
Now I'm
This
gonna
is different. This is for fun.
Yeah.
Like a friend of mine asked, he's getting into sci-fi. He asked me the other day to give him something sci-fi-ish, but kind of campy and Western. I said, you know what, Serenity will be perfect for you. I said, if that's what you're looking for, something sci-fi-ish and campy and kind of Western, it's a perfect fit. It's a shame it only made one season, but and he calls me after he said, I love this. Where's the rest of it? I said, that's it. That's it, my friend. 12 episodes. I mean, that's all you get, or some more. I think it's 16, but it was just one of those things. But yet he did, what is it, Newcastle? That thing was going on forever. So you never know what's going to take off, people. What are y'all's favorite sci-fi? Everybody's throwing up sci-fis. I don't have a favorite. No. I did like Altered Carbon. I'm not going to lie. Little bit of sex in it, but I did like Altered Carbon. Well, it's not for your kids to watch. Hell, It ain't even good to watch if you got faint of heart, man. It might kill your ass. But
There's a lot of streaming shows that aren't for the faint of heart.
well, I mean, I got a rule. Usually, if I see a sci-fi show or any show for that matter, the first 3 minutes is tits and ass, I don't want to watch it. I already know it's
Yeah.
just not going to be what I think it's going to be. Altered Carbon, just like Expanse, turned out to be different. Altered Carbon turned out to be serious sci-fi based on a future that could or could not be true because of the way needle casting is pretty easy. You're not casting the whole body, just a thing. So and that's kind of sci-fi I like though because it does put it. That's why I like The Expanse because it puts us in our face out there in spaceships. No spinning ships, no gravity of any real kind. it's just what we are, and it's how we're going to
In
get out there.
Expanse, there's a lot of danger too. I mean, outer space is a dangerous place. I
It
mean,
is.
It's so much easier to die out there than it is down here.
Yep. It's trying to kill you.
All the time.
Actively trying to kill you.
What do you mean? Oh, y'all always ask if the guest is married. I'm going to start charging for that question. Yes. You know what? We're gonna do it for Facebook. It's gonna be a $5 charge from now on when y'all ask.
Hey, I'm single.
Are you the guest? No, you're not the guest. Now you got to go through Sean. Sean Jack. You got to go through me. Now he uses his stage name as Jack when he's with you ladies. Oh no, there's a minimum fee. $39.99 for the first time, $75.99 for the second time. No, this is how this works. I pimp out all three of them, man. I ain't got no problem with it. I don't know if Martin's married now, but I'll pimp them all out. Look, he could be reading you good stories too at the same time. I mean,
Tell him to come visit me Tuesday night on Into the Night, dude.
No. Strangos. What politics? No, we don't do politics when we're talking to guests. No, sorry. We may in a little while, but we don't. Not when we're talking to guests. Okay, so you're gonna.
Chris says don't go to Australia. I've been there. I love it, man. I loved Australia.
Last time I went to Australia, I got in a fight with a kangaroo. So I don't know.
Oh, geez. Well, I mean, he's not wrong. They've got 10 of the most deadliest spiders, 10 of the most deadliest snakes, 10 of the most deadliest reptiles. I mean, they got the top 10 of almost every deadly type of species on their continent. So, yeah, be careful.
The crocs and the great whites are fighting for who's going to get the sandbar.
You know what? When I was in Australia, that was the first time I ever had ham and pineapple on a pizza.
Really?
Ew.
I'm not a big fan of it, but I've had it,
Yeah.
It's like anchovies. I'm not a big.
How about you, Martin?
Him by itself on a pizza, not so bad. It's the pineapple. I can't deal with it on a pizza. It doesn't belong. It's not. It's just.
Are you Italian,
so
Jay?
Are
you
Italian? It completely counteracts the pizza flavor.
Where's Amelia at? Where's Amelia? She would like have a field day on us with saying that.
Oh Lord!
Oh my God! Tell her I said that.
She's already been sent to Mars. We couldn't take it no more. We sent Elon money, and Elon went ahead and sent her to Mars. It's
So Martin, what kind of pizza do you like, dude?
I am actually a huge fan of pineapple in just about anything. So pineapple on pizza is fine with me.
Y'all is pineapple pizza shit. I don't even like anchovies on pizza. So look, y'all keep that too.
Yeah, can't do
the only place I like anchovies is in a Caesar salad.
Too damn salty there. Bro.
Oh, I can do them in a Caesar salad. But that's the only place I can do them. That's it.
Yeah, the Caesar. I like the Caesar dressing. It's made from anchovies. That's yummy. The fillets, I can deal without those. But
so I know you're gonna have to catch one of these Right into the Futures events and go hang out with them. You know they're always looking for authors that come hang out and do autographs and talk and stuff. I always harass the authors while they're there. By the way, anytime I see them, like if I'm in Dragon, I'm like, "What the hell y'all doing here? Y'all enjoy yourselves." It sounds like Joe. He's like, "They're gonna be here at work," and I'm like, "No, go enjoy yourself. Life's short. Go have fun." Yes, I'm a pain in the ass. What can I say? What do you got, Curtis? Curtis wants to know, Martin, if there's any particular reason that you like writing in particular genres. I have no idea what question that was.
I like the near future, near space stuff because I'm a child of the Apollo era.
Mm.
That was what was on the TV in real life when I was growing up.
Yep.
And then we just stopped. And we had the plans to be able to go out and expand into the solar system, but we didn't have the political will to do it.
You're right about that.
So I want to write the stories as if we did.
You know, I did an interview with Carolyn. I can't think of her last name. She was Werner von Braun's second secretary, and she worked with both of them on their plan. So I wanted to know because I had always been told growing up that Werner von Braun, the moon was a stepping stone to go to Mars. That's what the moon was. But you know, I was like, well, the TV never tells you that kind of stuff. So I got Carolyn Rosin, that's her last name, Rosin, on the show. And we got to talking about it. She said, hell yeah. He said he already had the craft developed and designed and everything. He said NASA knew about it. NASA was all behind it. And all of a sudden, boom, we didn't go anywhere. We just stopped. And people didn't know, but was it 17, 18, and 19, or is it 16, 17, 18, whatever? The last three was still, they were paid
17
for.
was the last. The 17 was the last
So
public
then it was 18, 19, and 20.
and 20 that was clandestinely launched from Edwards Air Force Base in California.
They were paid for, and we said we're not going to do it. I never understood that we paid for them, so the astronauts were trained, the crews were ready, the missions were paid for, and nothing. It's like somebody said no. What were you saying, Martin? I'm sorry.
It came down to political will and courage. And I've studied this a lot. There's a phenomenal pair of books. One is Apollo by Murray and Blycox, and the other is Chaikin's A Man on the Moon. And they get into a lot of the politics behind this. The reason why we didn't do von Braun's mission was because we'd been committed by Kennedy to a man on the moon by the end of the decade. And von Braun's vision would have been a better infrastructure, but it wouldn't get us to the moon fast enough.
Nope.
So they scrapped all of that and went with, let's just get there. And once they got there, Kennedy's legacy had been fulfilled. And all of a sudden, Congress starts saying, I could put that money to some other use.
Yeah.
And meanwhile,
there's no further ambition.
And NASA planners are like, you know, we got really lucky that we only lost 3 in this whole process. Every time we take a shot, there's a chance of losing another crew. And if we lose another crew, it's going to kill our budget. And so NASA started looking for less ambitious things to do.
It took them, a decade to design the shuttle. And we lost more in the shuttle.
A little more than that. When was the last moon launch? Was 77? 76, something like that?
Yeah, 73, I think.
Yeah, I think 73 it was.
We didn't see the space shuttle until at least the 80s, mid-80s. And they didn't start doing space launches until 88, 89.
Mm-hmm. But they flew 120 missions, 116, I forgot now.
150 something missions, yeah.
They lost 2 crew.
Lost 2 crews. So we lost more on the first crew.
One coming down.
So we lost more in the first crew, the first loss of the shuttle, than we lost in the entire space program before it.
Yep.
Just on that one shuttle. So when we lost the second shuttle, we doubled the amount of people we lost in the entire space program.
Yeah.
And the second one was completely preventable. The first one, I don't know if they could have prevented it or not. It doesn't look like there was any chance of whatever went wrong that happened so fast. I just don't know.
It happened outside the ship. One of the support.
But the second one, unfortunately, they could have fixed the heat shield while they were in space. They just decided not to. They didn't want to take the time to walk for some reason. I never did understand any of that. They flew by the station. Oh, we don't see anything. My ass. I'd have been out there in a spacesuit, walking around, looking at the ship, going, "Wait a minute.
Fix that hole.
Once you see a shuttle, once you see a heat shield missing, you got to repair it. You got to figure something out. Well, you got to hang out with the damn space station until they can send you up some materials. Because, I mean, and you could tell by the way it came in. It looked like it was coming in, and then it kind of broke like it was burning up coming in. And then, I mean, we watched it as it spread across Texas and into Louisiana. and everybody knew, when you seen it, you knew nobody was surviving that. And I didn't understand that either because we were supposed to have this new crew capsule that could be ejected, and that didn't seem to work either. After the first crew we lost, we were supposed to be able to save them, and we couldn't. There was a lot of funkiness with that second time. But
and I think what happened with the second one, though, is that they determined there was some formula that they had, first of all, to determine how many tiles they can be missing on the bottom before it can't dissipate the heat. And they did that calculation, came out wrong. So that was the first mistake. But then they also determined that some of the missing cones or missing tiles were at the nose cone, right where the cockpit is. And they suspect that the heat just was like a laser, just burned through the hull, through those missing tiles, and just killed the crew instantly.
It sucked, whatever it was. And then we lost a teacher in that one too. I mean, that was just one of those things that, what was that, Janice? No, we're talking about the second shuttle that yes. No, it sucked. I mean, anybody who was alive that watch it, no, we didn't end the space program over, which was surprising, but we didn't. So let's talk serious space program for a few minutes. So one of the things I used to bitch about when I first got in the radio is I said, if you ever really want to see space really change and become something that man can use, privatize it. So I used to hear from all my guests, oh, that's stupid, Joe. You can't do that. Government's got to run space program. So
government won't allow it.
So, of course, Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and what's his name, Acme and all that have proved me totally right. Not only has Elon launched more missions in 1 year than fucking all the rest of the countries combined, he's landing them and reusing them. And he's reusing them regularly.
Very little lost equipment in the entire operation. The only thing that they have to replenish is the fuel and the astronauts.
He has showed NASA the error of their ways he's not, this just proves to me how long we've been effing around. Because, I mean, all of a sudden he comes to Bezos. He's flying. He flew Captain Kirk into space. I mean, he's flying people to space. Virgin Airlines now selling tourist tickets to go to space, people. Okay. But yet NASA and Russia and China and India can't even hardly get a capsule into space. What the hell's going on here? I mean, really, there is some funky monkey business going on because Elon has just proved to the world that not only can I do this, I can. And shit, the other day he's landed 3 at a time. NASA's scared to even land one. He's landing 3 at a time. I don't know what to think, people. I mean, I'm grateful, but I just
probably have to wear a space suit when you go visit Mars, or
absolutely. You can't. You have to bring your own self-contained oxygen, or you will
bringing Martin with us. We're taking Martin to Mars with us, man.
They are now finding water on Mars, which means hypothetically you can crack that for hydrogen and oxygen. And they're finding other stuff that I'm not nearly enough of a chemical engineer to keep track of and understand it, but they're finding complex chemistry there. So there's the possibility of supplying oxygen from local sources. Breaking up different minerals for the oxygen.
So Joe pointed out last show or a couple of shows ago that there may be some pockets of atmosphere trapped inside caverns and underground mountains.
It's hard to rule out at this point.
Yeah.
Well, was it Viking? The first one when Viking landed, they had found oxygen. And then NASA said it must have been something caught in one of the instrument package, which is possible. But then they found it again. So since we've had the rovers, we have found it on several occasions, and not just a little bit. There's been times when we found big plumes. Recently, the helicopter flew through one. But the problem is when they're looking on the ground, they're not seeing any cracks or crevices. It's got to be coming from somewhere. So, I mean, there is atmosphere on Mars, and there is wind and rain, and very little rain, but there is rain there, and they do have seasons, and the ice caps do melt.
There's atmosphere on the moon, but it's so dense, it's not safe. It's not good for us. But the atmosphere on Mars is almost where we can survive. Almost. It just needs a little help, a little boost.
Yeah, the atmosphere. We can get the atmosphere pretty quick. As far as the rest of it, that's going to take some time. Getting the pressure to where we need it. But they said if you could burn enough carbon, you could lower the pressure on Mars so that all you'd have to wear is a gas apparatus. A oxygen thing, but you wouldn't have to wear a suit anymore. So you could go out on Mars just like normal, but you'd still have to have an oxygen thing. Oxygen is going to take some time unless we find life on Mars, and there have been things talking about caverns where there's water and some type of
we
like
need
plant life
something
or
the size of
something.
an ocean to do oxygen for the whole planet.
But the thing that made them think there was life on Mars wasn't the fact that they found oxygen; it was the fact that they found methane. They were like,
Methane
"Oh, wait a
and or
minute."
carbon monoxide would be a telltale sign.
Yeah, so they said, we're pretty sure now that there's some type of life on Mars, which I've been saying from day one. And Mars ain't the only one we're going to find life on. We're going to find life on 7 or 8 planetoids inside of our system. That's not the issue. Life we're going to find is the norm in the universe, not the ad norm. Now, what kind of life it is?
There's at least 5 planets right now that could support life. In the
Well, they're
near
still
future.
arguing about what is it, Europa, whatever that black thing was that went underneath the probe that looked like it was about 100 yards, 150 yards long. It looked like a freaking whale.
Yeah, well,
I don't know what it was, but it was definitely moving. It was moving at a clip, and so it wasn't just like a piece of ice, and it was black. But who knows what it is? But there is liquid water there. There is heat there. There's food there, and maybe that there's some type of oxygen or something else in the ocean, because not everything's got to breathe oxygen to live.
Yeah,
so it's weird. It's weird to know we're going to find it in other places. And I think we're going to start finding it a lot faster now. And then we've got Jay Webb shoots through that water planet the other day, and they're pretty sure they found, what was it, CBX? Only life makes it. So they're pretty sure they found life on the first extrasolar planet. It's inside the Goldilocks zones too. So, I mean, things are changing. Our Congress wants to know about aliens and UFOs. We're moving forward, which should be great for Martin because he ought to be getting a lot of more material to write about. It's, I don't know. It freaks me out a little bit though. Anytime I got to listen to my government talk about aliens, I got to think, is this real, or is this Memorex, or is this live? I mean,
yeah,
I don't know.
it's hard
to trust the government. I'm sorry, it just is. But I still love my country, so that's all that matters. Randy Loomis, what are you going on and on about? I don't know. He never told us. So Randy wants to know if you're going to Mars with Elon or if you staying here.
I'll be dead.
No, I was asking Martin. Randy wanted to know if Martin was staying.
I am utterly unqualified to make the trip. And I am also firmly convinced that it will be a one-way trip when he goes. And I would go in a heartbeat if he'd take me.
Well, so about 8 years ago, I joined this thing out of Switzerland. They were taking people who wanted to go to Mars. So I signed up on it. And the reason why is the lady, when I talked to her, said that she said, we're going to need contractors. We're going to need electricians. We're going to need plumbers. We're going to need everything. That includes authors. We're going to need a society, not just a bunch of effing scientists. That was her words exactly. Well, Elon just came out and said that just recently. He was saying, oh, no, you don't have to be an astronaut to go to Mars now. You just have to have the will and want to go and to be part of the society. But he kind of gives me that. But he kind of gives me that evil mad scientist feel, like the guy in Moonraker. There's something.
Drax.
Yeah, because he, I call it must feel. So he wants to go there and build his own colony. Within a decade, he wants to have 3 million people living there. And he wants to establish the Constitution there based off of ours. But he wants to establish it because he thinks there are things that are wrong with the American Constitution. See, right off the bat, that just bothers me. Now, if it's going to be a vote and everybody in the colony is going to get to vote, okay, I can live with that. But if one madman's going to make it up, I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I mean, think about our Constitution. It wasn't made up by one madman. It was made up by many madmen.
That's right. Many madmen who wanted to see freedom.
Mm-hmm.
What's that, Deneen? You'll go? A lot of people said they're going to go. If he'll take them, they're going to go.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
I just know that realistically, I'm 60 years old, out of shape with diabetes. I am not a fit candidate for the mission.
I'm 61, dude, and I got all your symptoms.
Yep.
Well,
And it's just you don't take people who are health risks on a mission like that.
that is probably true, because then you got to worry about them once you get them there.
Yep.
What's that? Marty? Wait, I'm sorry, it didn't look right when I read it. No, he's what they just said is true, but he is looking for people. You don't have to be in perfect health, and you don't have to be in perfect weight, but I would venture to say 50 is probably the cutoff point. It's not so much what Elon would allow, because he's kind of cool. It's what your body can take. I mean, first off, it's not like this trip is going to be 5 days and you're there. It's going to probably be 8 or 9 weeks, maybe a little bit shorter with some of the new ion drives are talking about, but still, you got to deal with that. And then once you get there, now they did say this, which I thought was cool. If you have high blood pressure or certain diseases, Mars will actually be better for you. No pressure on the heart when you're on Mars. So they're already saying that these kind of humans will live longer there. It also has something else in the atmosphere, and something there actually benefits other diseases as well. So I was like, well, that's kind of cool. I don't know about having babies there. I mean, they're going to have to establish some kind of 1G environment to have babies, or they're going to be messed up. Yeah, you'll have to live in a 1G environment at least most of the time, and walk around in 1G, and then your baby's going to have to develop in that until such a point. Well, because the astronauts have already proved living in space, we lose bone mass and we lose muscle mass. Yeah, so we lose both. Now Mars is going to be a little different because it's 1/6 gravity, but still.
Mars is 40% gravity.
Oh, 40%. Moon's 1/6. I'm sorry.
Right.
And so that's a little different. So there'll be some pull on you there. Well, actually,
but you'll
at 40,
you'll jump higher and lift heavier things.
At 40%, you probably won't need stairs in your house. You'll probably be able to jump floor to floor. But what do you mean, super strong? You'll be stronger than you would be here. I mean, you'd probably be able to lift up the front of your car to change a tire or stuff like that. I don't know about lifting up the whole car. 40% is still a decent amount of gravity.
Half of a ton is still half of a ton. So,
yeah. But I mean, stuff like that. You know, there'll be things going on like that, and eventually, NASA's originally plan was, and then I forgot there was somebody else, other company got involved in this. They want to send these machines there. They're automated machines. All they do is suck up dirt and they burn the dirt and create carbon. And it thickens the atmosphere and it lowers the pressure, or it raises the pressure, I'm sorry. And so we can live on Mars. Yeah, they want to make it to where all you have to wear is an oxygen mask to move around on Mars. And by thickening up the atmosphere, they want to build. So their goal is to thicken the atmosphere enough that they can build an underlayer atmosphere of oxygen, because nobody really thinks an oxygen atmosphere is going to stay on Mars forever. They think it's going to be a constant battle to keep an oxygen atmosphere on Mars.
Because there's no magnetivity there. There's no we have a magnetosphere, a magnetic shield that keeps most of our atmosphere in and most of the bad radiation out. And Mars doesn't have that protection anymore. It was ripped away from the planet.
And I did remember NASA for 2 decades said Mars was a dead planet, but recently they have had earthquakes, which suggests some geologically is alive somewhere. So yeah, maybe there's still some. Well, I don't know. The core, they go back and so much back and forth on the core. I've lost track. It went from a crystal to an iron to a molten to nothing to just.
They don't even know what our core is in our planet. They have a good guess, but we don't know for sure yet. No one's been down there.
Martin said he'd been down there. He got beamed down there from what's his name, spaceship. What do you mean, Orville? No, Orville don't have transporters. What are you talking about? Did I miss a season or something? No, they always use the shuttles. Yeah, no, Star Trek has space. I don't. Does Orville don't have transporters? Do they? No.
No, they don't have any transporters.
No, I don't
and the only reason
seeing,
Star Trek had transporters was because they couldn't afford. And people may not know the story about the transporters. The only reason why Star Trek had those was because they didn't have the budget in the first season to build the shuttlecraft, which was going to be the original conveyance from ship to shore. So they invented the transporters until they had money to make the Galileo 7. That's a true
Sweet
story.
dreams, Jack. It's
Yeah, good night, Sean. Is he out?
not
No,
yet, but
Yeah.
no, not
but
yet.
I,
I'm
they
getting it.
they
Hey, Joe, I
they
gotta run. I
go on,
gotta
baby.
run.
We knew what time you was checking out. Behave yourself. We only got about 20 minutes left anyway, so
All right,
go.
Martin, have a good, pleasure meeting you, Martin. Good
Nice
luck
to
to
meet
you
you.
and your books.
Thank you.
See y'all.
Good night, Sean.
It's what the hell is that? Sorry, there's weirdness going on by my feet there for a minute.
Chihuahuas.
What is your favorite sci-fi? Well, look, if you like Discovery, that's your business. I didn't have any problem with Discovery as sci-fi. I have just as Star Trek. It's just nothing in it is true. I mean, nothing lines up with any other Star Trek. Is what I should say.
And the mushroom drive. I mean, and if they introduce, Spock's sister, who you never hear about for 14 movies and 5 or 6 different spin-off shows, come on. Yeah, it's a little harsh even for a real Trekkie.
Yeah, and there was a lot of other stuff like the Klingons and stuff. There was just a lot of things they
the
took.
Klingons were horrible in that first season. What the hell did they do?
Just. I do like the fact that they fixed why some look like humans and some look like whatever's.
Yeah,
I mean,
kind of
Discovery didn't do that. One of the others did that. But what was your favorite Enterprise? Oh, I forgot about Enterprise. Scott Bakula.
Yeah, Admiral Archer.
I remember Enterprise. I remember T'Pau was hot. That's what I remember.
Yeah, it was pretty hot.
I couldn't watch that show. It's bad for my heart.
The Mirror Universe shows were pretty cool in the last season.
Who? Actually, Janine wants to know if she wants one of your novels, where does she go to get it? Or one of your books, where does she go to get it?
Well, you will find Today I Am Carrie in pretty much any bookstore, or at least they can order it. The Last Dance is a little trickier because my publisher for that is 47 North, which is a imprint owned by Amazon, and bookstores are kind of anti-Amazon. That they're not going. I mean, you could go in and order the book, but they're not going to stock the book because they feel like Amazon publishing books is a direct competition to them. Amazon selling books is like, okay, that's one thing, but Amazon publishing books, they feel like that's just a step too far. So sadly, I can't get book signings for that book in traditional bookstores.
Yeah. I can understand the bookstores, bitch about it, but it's, I meant to ask you this question earlier, but I know we're running out of time, but so, this AI has been coming up a lot, for authors and for illustrators. So I had Jeff Weiner on a couple of weeks back, and we were doing stories, just, put a paragraph into a story. So the first time he came on with me a couple of months back, he came on, he put a paragraph and a half in this thing, and one description of he was doing a comic book, right? This thing did the whole comic book in about 4 minutes. He did it with the balloons, the words. It was actually good. I was surprised. I was expecting some kind of jibber jabber bullshit, all mixed up. It was good. So the second time he came back, he did it and he told it something. And it went on and started writing a book. But I did notice as it gets more advanced, it gets more jibber jabberish. It starts pulling from places that it thinks is good, but it doesn't actually fit into the sentence. I've noticed it's done that with art as well too. That I think it's got information overload, to be honest with you. Oh, sorry, what did I just hit?
Well, these engines, what they're really trying to do is make something consistent with what they already have. And I read a great explanation of this. And okay, let's talk about the use that got people into trouble, which was they had an AI create their legal brief, and it cited cases that didn't exist.
Oh shit!
And the judge caught them at it. But you can understand kind of why it wanted to do that. What it's really trying to do is say, given these 100 sentences that I've already written, what would the 101st look like? What would the 102nd look like? Oh, that 103rd needs a citation. Okay, well, then what does a citation look like? And so all the thing is really trying to do is fit a sort of a meta pattern, which makes for horrible fiction. Because if you can predict page 100 from page 1,
Yeah.
there's no surprise there. And you can't go the opposite way. You can't have page 100 be completely random. It has to make sense from page 1, but not be predictable from page 1. And so a lot of these things, they're just trying to build consistency, not sense.
Yeah, well, that's what I've been saying. But but it is, some of these are going to be dangerous for illustrators and for authors as far as certain types of work. I was listening to one of the gamers down. He owns one of the big gaming companies, moved down to Louisiana a while back, and they've been hiring authors, illustrators, and programmers, and the whole bit. And I think starting pays 100 G's a year. So one of the things they were talking about is they're not going to get rid of their authors or their illustrators. What they're talking about is, yeah, we're going to use this AI, but under the control of our authors or our illustrators, not just randomly doing whatever the hell it wants to do. So basically, they're still asking the author to develop the story, but just use the AI to speed it along. Mm-hmm. And I can kind of understand that. And it's not going to take away from anybody's money. There's not going to be any shortcutting anybody. I can live with that. But some of this other stuff I heard where, I heard Google the other day talking about this, where they're going to use this to do certain types of short stories. And I was thinking, so you're going to look at them and edit them before you release them, or you're just going to let the AI just make a short story and hope for the best?
Yeah.
That's happening already today. That people are taking the short story from the AI and submitting it for publication. And I know people who insist this isn't the case, but the examples I've seen, they're AI.
No.
Because they don't have that dance of creativity. I had a coworker play a trick on me. He showed me a story, and I'm trying to be encouraging because it's when somebody tries to be a new author with their first story, you don't want to stomp on it. You want to make sure they know they've got room to grow, but you don't want to stomp on it. So he showed me this story and asked my opinion of it, and I didn't stomp on it, but I really, really, really couldn't get enthused about it. And when all was said and done, he said he went to one of these AI programs and said, write me a story in the style of Martin Shoemaker.
Oh, shit.
and now I'm free because now I know it's not his work that he's invested in, and I can stomp on this thing hard. I can give you the basic summary of this story was an inventor was sad because his wife and son had died. So he threw himself into his work because that was all he had left. And he invented a way to travel to another planet. And when he got to that other planet, he discovered all these amazing new things and new ideas that he'd never thought of, to the point where he eventually had this breakthrough, and he figured out a way to travel to another solar system. And when he traveled to that other solar system, the things he found were just beyond belief, mind-expanding stuff he'd never thought of, to the point where he figured out a way to travel to another dimension. And when he got to that other dimension, he found all this new ideas and all this new technology and all this stuff. He reached a point eventually where he had the power to make the world perfect for everyone, or to save his wife and kid. But he couldn't do both. And so he had to decide, and he thought long and hard about it, and he decided to make the world perfect for everyone and accept the loss of his life and kid. That isn't a story. That's the same beat 3 times, just that it expanded each time. It's, okay, another world, another solar system, another dimension.
Yeah, it's basically the same thing.
Mm-hmm. So AI had sort of a sense that a story has turning points. So it needs to have a turning point and another turning point. But then it has a story. What has to be done has to be consistent. And so the turning points were identical turning points with identical results. And it was just awful. And I've seen other AI short stories, and it's like they just don't have a grasp of what makes somebody want to read a short story. Now, I say that as a reader, an avid reader. And then I go and remind myself that people will sit and watch other people play video games for 7 straight hours.
Yeah.
Yes.
People will watch America's Funniest Home Videos for, I think it's been on the air 40 years now. So what I consider to be a great story and great entertainment, there's a lot of people who've got different standards. So
Yeah.
maybe these lame stories will satisfy a big, hungry audience out there that wants fiction faster than we can write it. And they don't
Well-
care if it's good, they just want it.
Well, right now you're probably right with all the strikes going on and stuff. It's I wrote to Netflix the other day because they said we're raising your prices. I'm like, really? I said, let me get this straight. You haven't produced anything new in 2 or 3 years. I said you burnt out pretty much during COVID, and now everybody's on strike, and you're definitely not going to produce. We probably won't see anything new from y'all for at least 2 years, and you're raising it. I said, well, guess what? I'm canceling.
Yep.
I got some bullshit letter back and asked me if I do a survey on why I canceled. I guarantee they didn't like it. Then Hulu said, well, we're going up. And I wrote to Hulu. I said, how much are you going up, Hulu? I said, because, and Hulu's, I think it was like $2. I let Hulu slide. But Netflix, when I started with Netflix, I paid $8. And I think now I was paying 21 or 22. I was like, you can keep it. It's just not enough on there right now. And with Hulu and Prime and HBO and the rest of it, it's unlikely that Netflix is going to get something that I want to see.
Yeah.
So, down they go. And that's the other thing. We all gave up cable because of things like Roku and stuff where we could get things cheap. And then all of a sudden, every one of these companies want $20 now. I said, well, you might as well go back to cable. You get it cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just.
But, the other thing that's aggravating about that whole thing, I mean, Hulu is one of the culprits. But so some of them have like a free service. You can sign up for free, and you get the commercials and all this other thing. Then like Hulu is like that. They have like a free service, and there's $4.99 service, and there's a $9.99 service. I think Netflix had that kind of thing. They start at $9.99, then $11.99, $12.99, etc. But they still make you watch commercials. Well, why am I paying you to have television put into my television, and I still have to watch a commercial? Then that's for a movie. That's for unless I'm watching like a live TV, like they're simulcasting, my local channels. I shouldn't be watching commercials. I'm paying you to entertain me. Why do I need a commercial? Why do I need to pay you for your service and pay you for commercials by watching your stupid commercials? See, they're double dipping there.
Now, one of the things I hear from people who know more about the industry than me, that doesn't make them right, but I hear it, is a big problem with the strike and all the streaming services right now is that in general, the streaming services aren't making as much money as they want their investors to think they are.
No.
And they've been keeping that as quiet as they can and saying, hey, we're doing great. We're doing great. And along come the writers and actors saying, well, if you're doing great, then you can afford to pay us better, right? And so they can't open up the books to say, no, we can't afford to without risking the investors finding out that things are a lot less profitable than they realize.
And if they keep raising prices, they're just going to keep losing people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The streaming services are getting towards the point where if you have 5 or 6 or 7 of them, you're basically paying the same amount you would for just a single service from Comcast or Verizon for cable television.
Well, a friend of mine the other day said
Comcast and all the different cable providers said, you don't realize what a la carte cable would actually cost you. That on the whole, it's easier and cheaper to give everybody the same big bundle than to try to charge for a lot of little bundles. And people laughed at them, but that's kind of where we're at today.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you don't want the movie channels, then you're all right. I mean, I have 2,800 channels available to me with all kind of shit on it, and a lot of it's just. And then I have regular live TV that I can watch, not just local live TV. That I can watch live TV from other places, including around the world. So that's actually nice, and none of that costs any money at all. But if you want Prime and you want Netflix and you want Hulu and you want Max, right there, that's $100. Bam.
Mm-hmm.
So now my cable bill was always like 260, 270, but um, when you start, and then of course there's Stars and Showtime, and then there's Disney and Paramount and the rest of them. I mean, you can go on and on, but it's easy to rack up $200 a month now on your favorite major things, and there's no reason for it because a lot of this you can see other places, and of course, you can always do NBC and CBS and ABC on their free stuff. But even they are kind of funny. Sometimes it depends where you're at. Sometimes you can get their channels for free, but sometimes you can only get their channels for free if you have cable, and you can include it into your system. So that's. But what are you going to do? Every time we figure out a way to beat them, they just come back with another way to even it to score out.
Yeah.
I mean, when this originally came out, first time I seen Roku, I was like, oh yeah, this is great. I got rid of my cable bill, started instantly saving $265. And then I noticed a couple of months back, I was just going through my TV bills, and I'm like, shit, I'm paying like $140 a month. I said, this is BS, man. So I just started getting rid of stuff. I'm like, I mean, I like Max, but I don't watch it that often. I may watch Doctor Who on it or something. And in all fairness, if there's something comes out that I want to watch, it's just as easy to pick up the internet, pop it on for a month, and turn it off next month. Because I've noticed if I don't watch these all the time, so I'm just racking up money for the sake of spending money, and so I'm going to start curtailing the way I use those apps. That and Netflix really pissed me off with that. Oh well, you got to do all this stuff if you want to watch it somewhere else. I called and cussed them out one day. I was traveling somewhere and I went to go turn on. I wanted to use Netflix, and they were like, "You got to do this and this and this and this and this." And I'm like, "Why?" Well, we don't let people use it in different locations because it could be other family members. I said, I pay for it so that I can use it on any computer I'm on. I said, you can either fix it or you can cancel it. They did something. Now when I travel, it's automatic. It doesn't. I don't know what they did. Well, what I did is I pissed the lady off really bad, and then I recorded the whole conversation of her rebutting it. And then I played it back to it. I said, well, I think you're going to lose your job over this. And mysteriously, everything got right with the world. So, and I don't, but the point is, you shouldn't have to be like that. And not many people have a station that they can go back on and do all this stuff with. And it don't, I don't know. It shouldn't be like this. You should be able to call in and say, hey, I got a problem. Oh, hi, Mr. Shoemaker. We can fix this. No problem. Yeah. But instead, no, it's not how it is. Or they want more money.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. It's all going to cost more money, and every streaming service should offer. I don't know if they could even do this, but they should offer for you to be able to watch the local TV channels for emergency purposes.
Yeah.
Well,
I noticed on my Roku system, it's already built into it, so I can watch them on there. On my Vizio television, you can get 3 separate sets of live TV. One of them's actually local, meaning Mississippi, New Orleans, but the other ones are like local for up north or on the East Coast somewhere. Or it just sometimes it's a West Coast, but it's cool to have it. It's just there's one I particularly like. There's a channel I got that has worldwide news, and it's really a good channel. They have some really good reporters on there. They do serious news. And I love listening to them talk about Joe Biden. Oh my God, it's like it's like some kind of really good satire or something. It's well, they used to be talking about Trump all the time, but lately they're only talking about Biden. It's just as sad that our ex-president and our president are both in shit up to their ears.
Stock, yeah.
But somebody the other day told me it's going to be DeSantis and. What's her name? She used to be an ambassador. Oh, Nikki Haley. They said that's who it's going to be. I said no. I think it's going to be, if it's going to be anybody, it might be DeSantis and Gabby, the ex-Democrat. She might get in there. What's that card? I don't have no idea who's going to run for. I'm just playing around. I have no idea. I don't even want to. I don't even want to get into what Biden.
There's too much data out there to speculate. There's too many people that are close.
Yeah, there's right now Trump's winning on everything. Biden's falling behind, but it doesn't mean anything. Shit, as far as we know, both of them might be in jail by 2024.
They might be in jail tomorrow. Some of these charges.
I'm just I'm to the point where I want the truth. I want a president. I want a uniter. Reagan and Clinton united the Congress, did stuff with the Congress, made the people feel good.
Economy was good.
I don't care what party they are. I've told you this 100 times. It doesn't matter to me. I just want somebody who cares about us and not everything else. That's as easy as I can say. So what we're going to say, Martin for president, and we'll get good sci-fi too. They'll be where's the Mr. President? He's busy writing some sci-fi for George.
Yeah, he's writing his short story.
No, Carolyn. I know we do a lot of politics on the show, but no, it's I don't know. I don't care at the moment. And if it is someone I feel that I can vote for morally, I will. Oh no, you mean when Hillary and Trump was running, I was leaving the country. I wasn't voting for either one of them evil bad. And I liked Hillary, and I wasn't voting for her ass because she's evil, man. She is like Darth Cheney. She is Hillary,
she's worse
man.
than Darth Cheney.
She is Darth Hillary, dark Darth Hillary. No, we always picked on and called him Darth Cheney because, he got his heart removed, went back and was fighting wars and shit. So we just
he's got like the partial heart of a pig or something like that in him.
Yeah, and then went back and fighting a war. That just cracked me up. It's part of being an American. Politics is part of our heritage, and you have to deal with it. That's just how it is. Mm-hmm. Nope. You mean one of the three of us run for local office? I'm not. You might talk Martin into it, maybe Jay. I ain't going for it. What do you mean I'm the right age? I'm tired. No. I like doing radio. Politics would get me in trouble. I'd say something and probably get put in jail or something. Yes. I'd be like, why are we this stupid? I'm just saying. I wouldn't be a good politician now. I'm sorry. What you got? You got about 2 minutes. What you got for Martin? I seen you was say, I got a question. Oh, okay. No, that's cool. Jenny just wants to know, what was it that kicked you off to writing, and how old were you when you started?
My mom used to say that I told stories before I could write. I don't remember that far. My memory is actually not great before high school, but she says I told stories about my imaginary friends before I could even write. So it's always been part of me. But I spent nearly 5 decades giving up too easily.
Yeah.
But I had the temptation, the desire to tell stories for the longest time. That I like to think that normal people, assuming we're not normal, normal people have what I call an idea filter. Something comes along, a wild combination of two things like chimps in New York. And we say, and the normal people say, that's ridiculous. That makes no sense. And they discard it. It passed through their brain and was gone. A storyteller says, how would I make sense of that? Why are these chimps in New York? What happens while they're there? Who brought them there? Who's going to be upset that they're there? And so instead of filtering out the wild idea, a storyteller tries to make something of it. And that is, to some degree, just a personality difference, that I get these weird ideas and I want to tell them to make sense out of them.
Y'all got that? Yeah. What you got? We got 1 minute left. What do you got? No, that's stupid. Not stupid. No. Writersoffuture.com if you want to join. If you want to submit, writersoffuture.com. If you want to buy something, galaxypress.com. What else? No. I'm going to get Martin to give his address one more time before we leave. But what? Oh, so he says, he goes, he just said moon, dog, and spaceship. Are you going to write a book based on the moon, dog, and a spaceship?
Dog stories are almost always popular.
There you go. There you go.
As long as the dog doesn't die or get hurt throughout.
Yeah, both the ones I had to do reports on was where the red fern grows in Old Yeller. Neither one. What was that? I'd recommend you read the story. I just you need to be ready for
what
the
about
end
the
of the
movie
story.
Dog's Life? Do you ever see that? The dog dies 3 times. It's the same soul. It's a great movie, but the dog dies 3 times, and it's so sad all the way through the movie.
Oh Lord, I don't need no sad doggy tales. No, Carol, I got enough real ones. No, we got to go. Wait, what? It's midnight. This poor man. What is it? 1 a.m. for you, Martin?
1 a.m. for me.
Yep.
Yeah. No, this man's up late. His cat's getting him. Like, get your ass in bed, Dad. This is bullshit. What are you still doing
Feed
up?
me, Martin, and then go to bed.
Bullshit. Oh well, I don't know. I would now. You mean if Jeff Bezos offered me to take a ride, or Virgin Airlines? Hell yeah, I'd take a ride. Yeah, as long as it didn't squish me or kill me or give me a freaking heart attack. I'd be ready to.
I'll go too, but only as long as there's a promised return right. If I don't like it,
Yes,
get me off this thing.
Well, see, Martin was right earlier when he said that when this first set of trips to Mars will probably be one way.
Yeah,
eventually, Elon tells you it's going to be one way. He said now eventually, 10 years, 15 years down the line, then there'll probably be return trips because by then there'll be established colonies and things going on and other people being there, but not in the beginning. In the beginning, it's just going to be launching stuff to Mars. He's going to have return rockets. You already know that, but most of that stuff's going to be bringing back minerals and stuff to Earth. And remember, so one of Elon's goals is to set this big colony up and then start mining the asteroid belt for minerals. So we know there's a nickel iron asteroid out there that's worth, I think it was $700 billion. There is a gold platinum asteroid worth, I think they said 21 trillion. Oh, I'm sorry, it's more than that. It was more trillions than the entire Earth's economy is what it was.
Yeah.
One rock.
One giant asteroid, and then there's other asteroids that have other things we need them. There's iron, there's aluminum up there.
But that's what Elon was saying. There is plenty enough out there in that asteroid belt to easily pay for anything that they want to do. Well, this is where we're going. We're going to be living on Mars. We're going to have people out in the asteroid fields working and living there. We have shuttles running back. Some will actually live there. Some will be going back and forth. You mean going back more? Not until it gets a lot faster, like a week or under. Then you'll start seeing people moving back and forth between the planet.
Yeah, we're talking what, 3 months, 4 months to get out there?
Yeah, Elon said he's got to cut down to about 8 weeks, but we'll see.
Still 4 months.
Yeah, round trip it is. So we'll see. Plus, you don't know what the effects of Mars is going to be on you when you get there. And being in a suit every time you go outside, you might be a little claustrophobic. I mean, there's a lot of things to think about when you start thinking about this. That's because I'm an idiot. That's why. Yes, I just am. No, I am. No, but I want to be in a spaceship with some luxury. Got a little stewardess running around, serving cocktails, nice cushy seats. But no, I don't want to be putting no tin can and blasted out there. Why the hell would I want to do that? But I figure eventually we'll have these little spaceships with nice covered, leather seats, and you have the little stewardess out there. You have to watch her. Her skirt's going to keep trying to float up, and just a different world. There's a L. Ron Hubbard book, kind of like that. It's a sci-fi book I had read a while back. Yeah, I've actually seen that particular sci-fi story done a few times. But on that note, Martin, tell them where they can find you, where they can get you, and we're going to get out of here because I got to do paperwork still tonight.
Shoemaker.space.
And that's not shoemakerlevy.space. That confusion.
No.
But if y'all have a problem, you can always pop back to the video and catch it right here. So all you got to do is pop to the end of the video and get it. Go over there, check it out, get a book. No, we ain't got to that part yet, but buy a book. Don't be a cheapskate, buy a book. Yes. Besides, if y'all don't buy some of these, Maliva's going to hurt me. She's meaning people. Y'all don't know.
That's a nice deal on that set.
It is. It's a good deal. Yeah. It's $125. You get. I mean, I forgot how many. So it's like 144. No, it's more than that actually. Somewhere I've got the advert, but it's a bunch of stories, bunch of artwork, bunch of stories. Enjoy them. They're all fun to read. Like I told you earlier, PG-13. You can let your kids read them, even your elementary kids. And if you're one of the families that still read to your children at night, this is a perfect set for that. Yes, it is. I know what you're talking about, Gene. We used to have it. It was about yay thick. It was it was hard covered. It had 200, 150 fairy tales in it. The one we had was a collector's item, but somebody asked me, did you think it was worth anything? And it was so much Scotch tape holding this book together. It had been read so many times. I don't think it's worth anything, but it was great. And then shortly after that is when I got turned on to Hansel and Gretel. Not Hans Christian Andersen, sorry. And my mom wanted us to read classics and anything that was considered classics. And then and then there was the word of the week. People, if y'all knew how many big words I knew, y'all would just be like, wow, Joe never uses those anymore. And I don't anymore. Yes, Mom had a thing about that. But we got to go. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to United Public Radio and News on the Flip Side with myself and Jay and Martin and Jack Kelly, who's off now. And you can catch him on Tuesday night on Into the Night. You can catch Jay here when he gets back to work on Church of Mavis with Jeffrey Pritchard. Jeffrey, Church of Mavis. That's it.
Radio.com.
Yes, and I'm here on Fridays and Wednesdays. You're talking about the girls. They are on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Michelle DeRochier and Emilia Pisano. Yes, that's where they are. My Canadian girls. So if that's what you want to call them, that's fine.
Emilia's not Canadian. She's Italian. She makes all kinds of Italian dishes.
Yes,
really yummy Italian dishes.
She's Canadian Italian. Whatever the hell that is. No, this girl cooked. I call her, you ever heard of a PT? Well, I call her a PC, not a PC. Sorry, I got it backwards. No, she's a cook tease. That's what I call her. Actually, I call her food tease, a FT. I call her that all the time, food tease. I said, you are a food tease. Stop it with the food.
She makes some amazing food.
And she likes to send it to me and harass me. I was like, now you just made me hungry. Thank you very much. I'm like, she does. She's a cook and a half, but come on. I can only take it so much, and then I want to eat. But Martin, thanks for showing up and hanging out with us tonight. I know we drove you crazy. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope y'all enjoyed the show. Any moans, groans, bitches, or cripe, you direct them to Michelle DeRochier at Michelle DeRochier, and tell her Joe sent you. Good night, everybody.
Good night.